Hey everybody. Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor in the house? I believe there is a doctor in the house. Dr. Seuss to be exact. I hope everybody has their shoes off, sit back and relax because it is now time for Taco Tuesday, baby. Welcome to Taco Tuesday, everybody. I'm your host with the most that ain't afraid of no ghost, and I love to eat some toast. Hebro77 here, coming at you live, along with Sagittarically Speaking. And we do have a very special guest tonight, but, we decided to lock him up backstage for a minute. He will be coming out shortly, but for now, Sagittarically Speaking, how you doing, my brother and friend?
Well, I'm doing just fine, thank you. How about yourself?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, I'm hanging in there. I had some chili mac earlier, so I'm just waiting for that to kick in.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm not sharing a bunk with you.
Well, yeah, you might not want to do that tonight, yeah.
So, how are things up there in Illinois and the Missouri area?
Hot
Okay.
and humid, man. I'll tell you what. I think it might have cooled off by 5 degrees tonight. I don't know, but you know what they say.
Well, I'll tell you what else is hot.
Uh-oh.
Tonight's show is going to be hot. We have a very special guest. He might have to pop in and out a little bit, but he's going to try to stick with us throughout the duration, and we're going to talk some Mandela effects.
Mandela effects.
Yeah, we're going to get to know our guest and how some of the Mandela effects that he's experienced. I'm going to talk about some of my favorite ones, and I'm sure we'll be able to pull a couple out of Hebro's hat as well.
Well, I'm not wearing a hat, but I better go grab it, man.
All right. Well, you got any in that big sword of yours that you're carrying around?
Oh, wait, I got my hat. Here it is.
All right, cool.
I got it on right now.
All right.
Right now. I think I could pull a lot of tricks out of this hat. What you think?
Yeah, well, if you walk down the one street, you're going to get a lot of clamor. Woohoo! Yeah, you rock! And then you go down another street, you're going to get rocks thrown at you.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes, especially when you wear hats like that.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, man. I never throw rocks at a glass stone.
Why not?
Because if you throw rocks at a glass stone, it could bounce right back and then hit you in the head.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I can see how that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention you could break the glass, I guess.
Oh, well, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was using plastic glass. So.
Well, there's always unintended consequences when you start throwing rocks.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Well, hey, let me ask you this. If your name was Rocky and you had a statue and that was a Rocky statue and people started throwing rocks at it, would you be mad?
Good question. I guess it depends on what my statue was made out of. Because I could see, like, if it was titanium or something, I would just have a smug look on my face, like, throw your little pebbly rocks at my big Rocky statue.
Oh, okay. Well, that rocks, dude.
I know, right? You know what else rocks is our special guest. We should go ahead and bring him out after you do your grand introduction.
Oh, that's right. We don't want him eating all the green M&Ms.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe he's going to eat some Choco Tacos. I mean, that is on the menu tonight.
or empanadas. I don't know what all you got on display back there. I didn't spend much time backstage today before I came on. I kind of whisked in last minute and hung my hat and coat up and ran on stage with you.
Was it as cool as my hat?
No, not nearly as cool.
Oh, okay. Well, at least no one will be throwing rocks at you later.
No.
But hey, you know what? We're going to have a good show here tonight. And let me introduce to all of you, the doctor is in the house tonight. That's right. Dr. Seuss, the Susso, is here tonight. Let's bring him on in.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Susso. How's it going?
Great. Best day of my life. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Welcome to Taco Tuesday, where everything's crazy, including our guests.
I gotta show you my hat now.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I think his hat's a lot cooler than mine. What do you think?
Yeah, he looks like he could solve anything with that hat on.
One of many. So, what's going on, fellas?
Well, it's just another Taco Tuesday here in the south. Well, I shouldn't say South Florida, mid Florida. I'm in St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg.
It's right next to Tampa Bay.
Oh, you're hot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
my AC unit hasn't stopped blowing, I think, in, I don't know, like literal air actually moving through it for at least 30 or 40 days now.
Oh, wow. It's absolutely gorgeous here. Beautiful. It's got to be 65 maybe.
Oh, man. I am envying you right now, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, nobody in this town has air conditioners. I mean, like people come up, they're like, does the place have air conditioning? I'm like, you're not going to need it. I mean,
speaking of air conditioning, I heard something really strange from a guy the other day. I was talking to this dude. He was working in the dollar store, and he didn't have his mask on. I was like, not that I care or anything, but just curious. I thought all the employees were supposed to wear masks. And he goes, we were told that the air conditioner will make the virus fly out through the vents. Like, okay. So I just thought I'd share that with you. A crazy little story there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know that I would even, if I saw somebody without a mask on, if I would even say anything to them one way or the other. Because I know how self-conscious I am when I'm out without my mask on. I'm so worried someone's going to say something to me.
Oh, no.
But I would probably give them like a thumbs up, though. Like, hey, man, fellow non-mask wearer, good to see you.
I usually say, hey, nice smile. And they all laugh. If they're not wearing masks, if they're wearing masks, I don't even bother.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but, I don't know. There's a couple of stores I won't go in anymore.
Yeah, same here. I don't even try. I don't even want to go. Even if I could, I wouldn't want to.
No, that's the thing. Even when they lift the mask ban or whatever, I know I said when. I still won't go in those places. I'm done with the mask thing. It's more detrimental than the virus. If it's real.
I feel the same way. I Ubered not too long ago, and most of my Uber drivers have been pretty cool, and they say it's whatever you feel comfortable. You can wear one if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to. And I got this one guy in particular, and he wasn't going to take me because I didn't have one. And so I ran in. I grabbed a pillowcase I just washed, and it was like a T-shirt type material. And I knew it would fit around my neck or whatever, and I wore it. But I didn't give him a 5-star rating. I can tell you that much.
I did go to the hot springs. I heard one wasn't you don't have to have a mask in the springs, but they did want you to wear one in, like, when you went in the office to get in. And I walked in totally forgetting that. And the lady's just looking at me, and she was uncomfortable because she didn't want to say anything, but I felt like she had to. And I just went, oh, and I grabbed my towel and just wrapped it around my head. I was like, sorry about that. Oh, okay. She goes, no, I'm sorry. And I said, no, I get it. It's all good. And then I enjoyed the hot springs.
Cool.
Well, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And then 2 weeks ago, it was whitewater rafting. And yesterday, it was a 14-mile bike trail. And I am exhausted.
I bet. I don't think that I could survive a 14-mile back trail right now. I could maybe get 4 miles in, and then I would probably fall down.
And this is in the mountains. And I got some really great shots I'll be putting up in my next video of it. But it's it's a shame. The P900 is done, basically. I mean, I'll probably send it somewhere to have them assess it and see what it'll cost to fix. But I dropped it twice, man. I mean,
do you have a special bike for that kind of stuff?
No, I don't. It's my first bike ride, please. And I just had it wrapped around my neck, and I guess just bouncing around, and it just the thing loosened, untied. I mean, it was tied so tight. It didn't matter to me, even when it happened, and I heard it hit the ground. I mean, I couldn't. If I would have went for it, I would have went down, which would have been fine. But I was going super fast down a hill, and hitting the wrong brake. I'm hitting the brake with my left hand, and that's the front brake, and I'm about to go head over heels. So I just listen to it crack the ground.
Damn.
Yeah, I made that mistake when I got on a motorbike, a dirt bike. I was down in the hills of Kentucky, down there, Jellicoe Mountain, and I started getting too much speed going downhill, and I hit that left brake and I felt that rear tire start to come up, and I freaked out, and so then I overexerted the right brake, or the foot brake, I mean, and I almost crashed. I started doing that thing where you're turning the wheel left and right and left and right, and I had to put my feet out beside me. I gathered myself and my composure just at the last second, right before I hit a ditch on the side of the road. I swear I must have had like 17 guardian angels looking after me at that exact moment.
Well, I got to tell you guys something. I ain't climbing the mountain. The day I climb the mountain is when they put an escalator inside the mountain. Then I'll climb it.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's one of the things on our list, is to go at least try and get up to the tree line on Elbert, I believe. Well, I'm hoping next week it's the hot springs, to tell you the truth.
Well, I gotta tell you, I won't even climb the little kitty hill that's on the playground. That's how bad I am.
I go up these mountains all the time, and I'll be using that bike path now. It's a 14-mile trail all the way around the city.
Oh, wow!
And it's
that's what
up into the mountains.
Go ahead. Oh, I was going to ask you why you had a special bike, is because I was curious if some of those hills were so steep you had to literally get off and walk up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was walking a lot. We got to the top, had lunch, and then just went down, and coming down was nice. Believe me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
made it all worth it, didn't it? Making it to the top.
Oh, sure. And it was absolutely gorgeous day yesterday. Amazing. I can't wait to put the video up with these shots, although it's the last video I'll be taking with this thing for some time, if at all. But that, I figured I don't know what it was. It was like the first time it dropped, all it said was lens error. And I'm like, okay, I could be able to take care of that. And then it happened again after I tied the knot myself. I mean, it was tied. It was a knot, and it did it again. So I thought, well, this is just supposed to happen. I'm not even going to fight it.
Damn.
Because there was really no way the thing should have ever fell off my neck. The first time, maybe. The second time, not a chance.
Something was telling you something, huh?
I don't know. I got plenty of zoom-in shots of Sirius, Betelgeuse, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, Saturn. I think Uranus, but I don't. When I was getting that, I didn't have one of those apps on my phone, so I'm not positive about that. So half the stuff I got pictures of that I'm zoomed in on these things, which is what I wanted it for, to zoom in on stars.
Yeah, I think
You
I
definitely-
heard somewhere that either last night or tonight, and I'm not sure. I know it was either just this past couple nights or it's coming up real soon. They call it the parade of planets. It's because they all line up in a row where you can see Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, all of them like in a row.
Oh, crap. Thanks, Edge.
I wouldn't want to get close to Uranus. I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah, I don't know exactly when it's supposed to happen, but I'm
Yeah,
sure we
you
can
know what I
look it
might
up.
do now? I might just send this thing right away. Now you got me thinking I need to send this thing right away. Or I'll go
Hey,
look up P. What's the next level up? P1000, P10,000s.
Yeah, the P1000 I think is pretty much like. Well, I think they even have a higher one now, like a P1200, but it's ridiculously high price.
Well, of course.
But
Yeah.
the P1000, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. That's what all the flat earthers are using and whatnot.
The who?
The flat earthers to do their long distance shots or whatever.
Oh, is that a bike group or something? Is that a bike gang?
Yeah, but they don't like to go up and down hills. They like to stay where it's flat.
hey, speaking of flat, I think we ought to give this room a shout out.
All right. Well, I know that joke was kind of flat.
Well, yeah, it fell flat, but
It sure did.
you tried at least.
I tied it in the knot twice. I don't know what happened.
Well, hey, you know what though?
What's that?
We got Michael Fontaine in here.
All right, Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
We got Eddie Von Keen, the real one, with a wrench this time.
All right.
We got Hebrew from Eternia. I don't really care too much for that guy.
I know. She could come out right now. He likes to start trouble in the chat room from time to time.
Oh, he is good at that. I'm telling you. We got Dr. Philip Fogarty.
All right. We got more than one doc in the house.
That's right. And we've got the ever so lovely Catherine Snow.
All right, Catherine Snow.
Coming at us on high speeds on his go-kart. It's Go-Kart Bob.
All right, Go-Kart Bob.
And Chris from South Jersey.
Say that again?
Chris from South Jersey.
South Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. There's your shout out, people. And I'm pretty sure we have a lurker in there or two.
Oh yeah, of course. That sounds like a motley crew of a great chat room though. Who knows? It'd be interesting to read the chat from time to time, see what they're talking about.
Well, there's a lot of people saying, "Hey, Suso, what's up?"
Oh,
Hey,
can I only?
what's
Yeah,
up?
he is kind of like a pseudo celebrity around here, isn't he?
No. As soon as I become famous, I delete my channel and start over.
All right.
That's it. At 1,800 subs the first time around, I'm right around 600. I'm good with that. That's fine.
All right. Well, it's just you're well known in these circles for
I
good
know.
reason, though. You put in a lot of work. You've been here, I think, since day one. From the way that I understand it, I haven't been here since day one, but that's the way it's been portrayed to me. That you've been in this Mandela community for quite a while. You're kind of a staple of the community.
Yeah, I've been affected since early 2015, and not by choice. Yeah, it's funny. I think back on that, and I remember seeing the Berenstain Bears, and I thought, well, I'm not real familiar with them. I know they just kind of showed up. For me, they showed up in 2011. I only realized this after looking back. I was in Pittsburgh after a car accident and walking around, just walked into this. I was going to pick up some music and I guess a Borders or a Barnes and Noble or something. And I'm walking by these children's books and it's all Berenstain Bears. Now I have no idea what it was spelled like then. I have not a clue. I do know I was staring at these bears, these bear books. I was just standing there staring at them. And I got a real weird feeling about it. And I'm like, all right, what's the big deal? New children's book, move on, and I just turned my head and I just remembered the stare. That was a really strange thing for me. Same thing happened when I was in Mississippi when I was staring at Jiffy and Skippy on the shelf. I was just staring at them, trying to figure out why someone wasn't getting sued.
I had that same feeling when I went to buy Stouffer's one day and couldn't find it, and as I saw was Kraft. Well, actually, it wasn't even that it said Kraft. It was just that it didn't say Stouffer's. Like it just said stovetop stuffing. And I'm like, well, where's the Stouffer's? And I couldn't find it. So I got to looking at the box closer, and I realized when I looked at the back, it said Kraft on it, and I was like, I guess they're just out of it. And I just went about my day, blah 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 blah, and and then later I came to realize that it no longer exists. It never has existed. Yet I've ate it so many times.
That's what happened with Jiffy with me. And that's that night, except for that night, I just went home laughing in Mississippi. I've already had quite a few bizarre experiences when I was down there and while I was down there. Before I was down there and when I was down there. And right at that time, I went home and they were on the Mandela Effect site, which I think's been taken down if I'm not mistaken, unless they put it back up.
It's hard to say, man. And then as far as the Berenstain Bears is concerned, I used to read those stories to my daughter a lot. It was one of her favorite books that we read, that and Dr. Seuss, obviously. But then make a long story short, as my daughter got older, her nickname was Bear because she would in the morning she would wake up grouchy like a bear. Like the first hour or two, she was hell to deal with.
Yeah.
So if she didn't have school that day, or even if she did, if we had somewhere we had to go and me and the wife, we would be like, I'm not waking up the bear. we had a running joke, and so. Anyway, I started calling her Mama Bear. She started calling me Papa Bear, and I actually started thinking about getting a Berenstain Bears tattoo, simply because we use those nicknames in our family, and I just thought it would be a cool way to represent the family. Even though I knew it would be a cheesy ass tattoo, I started at least entertaining the thought,
Right.
And so I remember looking at different images and different things and looking at the spelling and paying really close attention to the details of the Berenstain Bears. So then later when I realized that it had changed, it really blew my mind. Had I not paid so much attention, it wouldn't have been such a big deal, because I could have easily seen these people they're just thinking it was Berenstain when it was really Berenstein, oh well, whatever, these could be, it's an easy mix up. But no, I know for a fact what I saw, and versus since I paid so much close detailed attention to it, that I know there's no doubt in my mind that has changed.
Yeah, well, for me, they didn't even exist. I asked my daughter, I'm like, I used to read a lot of books there, but I never heard of a Berenstain Bear. I mean, and she's like, yeah, I used to read them to me all the time, Dad. I'm like, great. Was I paying attention? Was I really missing that? I mean, I even thought, wow, new children's book when I saw it. This is long after my daughter's in college at this point. and I'm looking at these things and I'm staring at them. That was a trigger point for me, I suppose, the stare maybe, because, you know, I guess it was, what, 5, 6 years later, 45 years later, whatever, 2015, when they're saying Berenstein Bears is a Mandela effect. And I'm going, well, what's a Mandela effect? And I think there was only 2, maybe 3 channels. I know there was definitely one. I think it was called Happy Feet Gal, but not the one that's out there now in chats. And she put out stuff, and then I saw Jesse Spots do something, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, I said, "What's he got a picture of?" I think it was Interview with a Vampire, and she's got a picture of that up. And I said, "Let me hear what this guy's got to say." I didn't know who he was. Popped that on, and Interview with a Vampire, I'm 100% sure of, and he's saying it's Interview with the Vampire. I'm like, no. I'm like, so okay, I get this Mandela effect thing. I didn't really at all, but I stuck with it and started watching it and paying attention. And I'd say 3 months later, maybe 3, 4 months later, it was like I come across this Mandela effect site that's been around since 2009, I think 9 or 10. And I just lived on that. I mean, it was 9 threads of information since 2009, about, I'm going to say 250 comments per thread. And I was reading, I started at the beginning and I was reading, and I wanted to comment, and I was commenting on some of the, I think I read most of it before I even joined. I think you had to join or something. So I read most of it, and finally I was like, I need to comment on here because this is weird. I'm not seeing all the same stuff they're seeing, but I'm seeing a lot of it. And I jumped on, and it was January of 2016 when Fiona Broom wrote to me and said, I just wanted to let you know you have the most comments on this site. I was like, oh, great.
Wow. Cool, man.
And that was because now it's 15 threads. She actually turned them into ebooks, I think. But that I lived and breathed that. I mean, I could not wait to get, because all my electronics were down. The only thing I had going was my phone, and I could not wait to get to my phone to read. I wonder if this is in the book. It must be. Just to read just other people's what they're seeing changes and what they think it was. And I joined, I think, as Anthony. I think that's who I am on there. And it just went on from there, man. And when I was in Mississippi, the experiences just started compiling and getting weird, and then they would calm down. But I mean, like weird stuff, like the birds in the book, where I'm watching this flock of birds, and they're doing this really weird flight pattern that makes no sense at all. I turned my head to talk to my roommate for a second, and I look back up, and these things are gone. They could have not have got away like that. Just stupid stuff like that. And I was like, wow, how's that even possible? I mean, they already looked jacked when I was watching them in the first place.
Oh, I'll tell you, man. For me, you know, for Saggy, it was stovetop stuff. And for me, it was Coke Zero. I freaked out whenever I first saw that it was no longer Coke Zero and it was Coca-Cola Zero. I go, no way, man. It's always been Coke Zero. What do you mean it's no longer Coke Zero?
In small print, it does say Coke Zero on the back in small print. Check it out.
Yeah. And I actually made a video about that, and I didn't even know that was already a thing. I made a video. I'm like, now, wait a minute. Why does this still say Coke Zero on the back if it's always been Coca-Cola Zero, you know? So that kind of thing, that was one of my first Mandela effects.
Cool.
No.
Yeah, you want to see that picture, Sag?
Yeah, I wanted to see your merchandise stand of all the
down there. Well, I got a few of them. We pop if we could share that picture there. There you go. That's the first one. That's Prince as a kitten, and I just started to. Let me get this thing down there. Come on. I just started to pick things up randomly. I mean, just things that I was affected by, and it just started small. I
Can
wasn't.
you full screen it, Suso, down in the bottom right corner?
What do you want me to do?
Can you full screen the image on that the arrows in the bottom right corner there?
Like that?
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
we
much better.
Oh, alrighty. So yeah, they were just a bunch like the shirts. I was walking around looking for a T-shirt, and I thought, well, why not grab a couple Mandela Effect shirts, you know? And then the guy that made these here, he just made T-shirts. I said, hey, can you get me put 2 Monopoly men on it, put one with a monocle and one without? And he's like, yeah, I got it. Boom. The John Deere. This is freaky to me because this is the way it was originally spelled for me. Then the E dropped off. And it was funny because I remember, I couldn't tell you how long ago, but I remember staring at one of these pictures in the John Deere going, man, I'm telling you, I remember the E. I remember the E. And it's back. So for me, John Deere's a flip-flop.
Let me ask you this real quick. I don't mean to take you off your subject or anything, but what's with Adidas? How's that affected? I don't get it, man. That's a new one for me.
For me and other people that I've spoken with, not just me, but it used to be ADDIDAS.
Oh. Well, the reason why I say that is because for me, it's always been all day I dream about sex.
Yeah, and for me, it was all damn day.
Oh, okay.
And that's everybody's like, oh, I have that argument. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you because it's not. I never heard that way. I heard it all damn day.
Huh.
So I don't know. And and Chevrolet for me, I know a lot of people say it's the emblem and stuff, and I agree with the emblem that no, it does not look right at all. I really think there was more of slants and all, but there was an E right here for absolute sure, 100% for me. CHEBEROLET.
I can see that. I kind of have a dual memory on that one.
Yeah, it's a 100%er for me. And that was another weird thing because that was even earlier in my life because I was only dealing, had to be late 80s maybe. And I was in front of a Chevrolet place. My car broke down. I was waiting for a ride, and I'm just staring at this Chevrolet. And I kept saying it to myself. I'm looking at it. I'm bored out of my mind. I'm like, Chevrolet. Why would they call it Chevrolet if it's Chevrolet? The E is silent. I mean, I guess that's possible. Chevrolet, and that was a trigger for me. I could probably think about I'm trying to think of what city I was in.
Now, this stand you got set up, do you have it set up at your establishment or at your house?
Oh, in my apartment.
Okay.
I used to. I don't now. I dumped all that. All that's gone.
Huh. Now,
oh, you don't even have this stuff anymore?
No, I mean, I have this here, this representation of a globe. Somebody gave that to me as a Pollyanna, the globe. So I thought that was cute. I also still have the white rabbit. So I got the white rabbit and the globe. I ate this candy here. I ate all that. Gone.
What's with the Drano? Tell us about the Drano.
There's an eye missing for some people.
Drano. Oh, yeah.
Wait, let me see that. Where's the Drano? I must have missed that one.
Now it's Drano.
Far left.
Drano.
Oh, Drano.
Yeah. Tidy Cats. When I was on the East Coast, it was Tidy Cat. My mother kept saying, no, it's Tidy Cats. And I said, look at the box. And she went, oh, I don't know. And kind of ran off.
Yeah. That one for me.
Yeah, one of those deals.
That one for me was Tidy Cats when it was for multiple cats, but it was only Tidy Cat because I always thought they had two different products. I thought they had Tidy Cat and Tidy Cats, and Tidy Cats was for multiple cats. I thought that's what
I don't know.
Always got me is like it's always been Tidy Cat.
You know, it's funny that when you say that, it reminded me of the Depends Mandela effect because my my mom and my stepdad, they were getting to that age. You know, you come in the world wearing diapers and you leave the world wearing diapers half the time. You know, and
Look at this. Wow, this is 2016, late 2016. This is a Vlasic jar.
oh, okay.
Now I saw that S removed, and I just I got such a kick out of it. But at the time it was one of the same with the Cheez-It box. I saw the S leave, and I was just like, I just don't care. I'm like, okay, haha, let me get talk about it on my channel. And I remember doing the same thing with the Vapo Rub. I couldn't swear to that. But that's,
how about Vaseline? Are you familiar with that one?
Where's that at?
No, it's not on your stand, but just the fact that
I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with it, but I couldn't say one way or the other. Folgers, I'm sure that the D is what was here. For me, it was anyway. And not only that, the packaging changed. When the packaging changed, that's when the letter missed. Because when I saw the new packaging, and this happened, had to be in between 15 and 16. Because believe me, when it had to be a little later than that. But when it happened, I wasn't thinking, oh, Mandela effects. When it happened, I just thought, oh, the company changed their packaging. They look more modern to me.
Well, yeah, that's the more logical conclusion, right?
That's what it always was.
Yeah.
And I never looked at the spelling after that. And I don't know who brought up the D missing, who the first person was, but I had to agree 100%. Fruit Loops is kind of goofy, I think. Rice Krispies, these guys here. It's funny. I'm looking at this package because this is the same box I've had the whole time. Now, let me show you this picture here. No, not that one. No, not that one. All right, here we go. We're getting closer.
Oh, wow. You got a lot more stuff on that one.
Okay, here, where we at? Okay, here's Rice Krispies here. And you can see how big this guy is. When I first bought this box, they were tiny little guys as big as the letter. Now they're 3 times that size, and they're hidden. It's like they're hidden. I can't really see them. I'm like, well, I don't understand that. The reason I had Rice Krispies was because of Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
Right.
And how do you spell crackle? That was the whole reason I had that box. But during one of these interviews or whatever, these things went from being a size of one of these letters here to 3 times the size, and it freaked me out. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. Hey, there I am.
Yeah, let's go back to that one again, the one you were just on. I see some really good ones in here.
Now, Rice Krispies, for me, the change was the word Krispies. I always thought Rice Krispies was spelled with a C.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Snap, Crackle, Pop, I remember Crackle being spelled with a C.
Well, Crackle is a C, I think. I could be wrong, but I thought it was a K. I could be. Hey, look, man, I don't even remember anymore. I don't really follow this stuff anymore.
Gotcha.
It's like when I see something, I look, okay, let's take snack. Well, I don't know if let's take one, pick one.
How about the Skittles? What's up with the Skittles?
Skittles. Okay, what's the saying behind Skittles?
Enjoy the rainbow or something like that. I can't remember. Taste the rainbow. Yeah.
What about catch the rainbow?
Oh, I don't know.
Taste the rainbow.
You say it don't sound wrong, but I wouldn't have guessed that.
What else is it? I forget. I don't even know what it is. I just know that was the Mandela effect, the saying behind it.
Oh, okay.
Taste the rainbow.
Maybe someone in chat knows.
I'm sure we could look it up. I'm sure somebody's got the world at their fingertips. How about this one here? You see that? Do you see my cursor on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
This is Corpse Bride. I'm quite sure it was the Corpse Bride. The Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just Corpse Bride.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
That doesn't even really make sense.
What is the saying for York peppermint patty?
Hold on. Oh my gosh.
I remember this one. If I'm not mistaken, for me, it's always been something something to do for mountain.
I give you the last word if you want.
Yeah.
Sensation.
Feel the sensation.
Do you agree, Hebrew?
Feel the yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I thought it was feel the sensation too, along with a lot of other people. It's actually always been get the sensation.
Ah.
How about Bush's beans? Is it
Well,
Bush beans or Bush's beans?
that's funny you mentioned that because I always thought it was Bush,
Yeah.
but I know that it's not because I got a duel going on that.
Okay.
I think I might have taken the upload because I remember Bush's baked beans.
Yeah, well, the apostrophe S was added. And anytime like an S is taken away, it goes from plural to singular. If you add an apostrophe S, it brings you to possession.
Yes.
It's still about you. So I'm like, that to me, that's the message. And that's what I was trying to do with these things. I'm looking at these, I'm like, okay, even if I'm not Mandela affected by, well, there's quite a few I'm not Mandela affected by up here. And now I'm looking at them going, nope, yep. Give me one, Play-Doh. I'm still looking for the message in it. Okay, I'm like still looking for the message in it. Pikachu without the black tail. It's not. What's the message there? I mean, Listerine and this Listerine. Do you know what this is here? Hello, am I on?
Yeah, I was just trying to. If I'm not mistaken, it's Listor and then a dash. I think there's a dash in it.
Okay, for me in my teens, it was Lysterin.
Oh, okay.
When I
Yeah.
was younger, it was Listerine with a Y, but apparently it's always been this way. So I'm like, that's kind of interesting. I pop it up there because I'm like, how sure am I? I mean, I might have been younger than a teen, but I remember it, and I remember like at some point I looked at this and I thought, well, that just looks weird. But it's like long before Mandela effects were around.
Mm-hmm.
I just assume they're changing the product or something.
Look who just popped in to join us.
I can't see anything.
Well, yeah. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me, Hebrew?
Yeah.
All right, just making sure. Yeah, I was going to say it looks like Teresa Lynch remembers the double D in Adidas. Catherine Snows remembers the double D in Adidas.
Hey, there you go.
Let's see. I'm trying to scroll up here. And then Eddie Von King was bringing up Pennzoil.
It's funny he brings that up. I did a video on Pennzoil with an old roommate of mine. And he was very against any of my thoughts and beliefs. Everything, it didn't matter what I thought about it, he wanted to fight with me about it. I lived there for a whole 2 months. I just wasn't going to deal with that. Did a couple videos on him, and I actually recorded him yelling at me that it's Pennzoil. It's always been Pennzoil. He's showing me the thing, and I'm like, all right, dude, it's always been Pennzoil. I'm wrong. Just leave me alone. And he just, I recorded him. And we got Henry back here. Is that right? Mickey without the suspenders, double stuff Oreo, Pokemon. What's that? I'm sure there's.
Febreze has always been one of my favorites. I mean, it triggers me when I'm in the store. I can't even look at the bottle without getting triggered.
I don't pay attention no more. It don't even matter. This is one of Joel Osteen's books right here. This is Titanic. I know there was one there. What is this one? Oh, this is the line. This is a movie called The Lion and the Lamb. Michael Jackson. I forget what it is. It's one of his songs, right?
That was the one that triggered me the most. Was Lion and the Lamb.
This is Thomas the Train here. I can't really.
What's with Thomas the Train? I know I've heard it before. I just can't remember.
Thomas the Tank Engine is it now? And
Yeah.
it used to be, yeah.
It used to be Thomas the Train. Now it's always been Thomas the Tank Engine. Correct.
What? That's so wrong.
We got cheese it up
I
here.
would remember. I used to work for the railroad. I would know if it was called Thomas the Tank Engine versus Thomas the Train. Oh my gosh.
What about the Pringles guy? He also lost a monocle.
Oh, did he now? That one I don't recall one way or the other.
Yeah, his monocle would actually fall off and land on the eye in Pringles and kind of ring around it. That's how
Okay. When you say that, I kind of vaguely remember it.
that's how I remembered that. And you got, of course, Morton Salt is actually Morton Salt.
Yeah, that one's kind of weird to me too, because I do remember Morton's. And when the thing was, when it rains, it pours, right?
I'm not sure about that, but I just remember the apostrophe S or an S on the end, maybe not an apostrophe, not totally sure. Of course,
Yeah, I saw a video where they actually called Morton's and was asking them, like, called their customer service line and was asking them about the change. I'm trying to remember who did that video, but anyway, it really caught like the people off guard. They didn't know what to say, but apparently because there's like some residue out there where you can still find it without the S.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
it is without the S.
Yeah, but it's not official. It's not. They were asking them if that was official merchandise or not. That's what they were trying to get at. Is this an official logo change, or they were trying to berate them to get them to give them a clear answer, and they couldn't. The lady was like, I don't know. I honestly, I thought we never had an S, but now that you're showing, I think they had an email correspondence they were showing in the videos. Now that the lady was like, I know you're showing me this stuff, but we don't have any recollection of it in our.
Oh, I remember that guy. I can't think of his name right now, but he used to do a lot of videos like that where he would call the places.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
But anyway, yeah, I thought that was real intriguing how they couldn't give him a clear answer.
Yeah, that'll happen. What else we got here? We got Jurassic Park back here. You guys know that one?
Refresh my memory. It seems like I've heard it before.
There's supposedly a scene that everybody remembers that's not in the movie. Has something to do with a sick dinosaur. Thing is, I've seen it. So it's like I've seen I'm assuming it's the same part, where these people take care of this sick dinosaur. I've seen that part, but long after people were claiming it wasn't in the movie, so it could have been a flip flop at the time. I don't know. Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, the spelling. OxyClean used to be a Y. Leprechaun is spelled differently. More Mickey.
Does your Pikachu have a stripe on his tail?
No.
Okay.
Who is this? This is Leanne Rhymes. They say her name changed. I would not know one way or the other. This one here. We got Silence of the Lambs, Folders we talked about. Cinderella. What is it about Cinderella? Oh, the color of her dress, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it is?
I'm thinking that's right. Oh, no, wait a minute.
Or the color of
Maybe
her,
I'm thinking of Snow White.
What's that?
I think I'm thinking of Snow White. I know Snow White has a dress color issue.
Right. That's it. Well, I know it was something. Of course, and Mike and I could. Now it's not the and symbol. It's the word and it's sideways. And of course, Darth Vader. Unicorns in the Bible. How many King Tut? How many things are on his head? There's 2 here. Sweet tarts. 1 T. 1 word or whatever. What's with the kangaroo? Why would the kangaroo be there?
They no longer have pouches.
I don't recall. I'm sure it's the reason I had nothing up here. I got the buffalo that was extinct here. I got deers that swim across. I don't know. I want to call it bays, like they swim. That's not too weird to me. I don't know. What is this here? That's a ferry. That's every time you lose your keys here with the ferry. Snow White, John Lennon. I wonder why that's there.
You know what though? Like all the ones that you have there, or really at least most of them anyway, are your like classic Mandela effects. And I'm not trying to take away from like new ones as they come in because they're. I mean, the Mandela effect is a Mandela effect is a Mandela effect.
Dude, this
But
picture's 2 years old.
right, but oh yeah, but what I'm getting at is these are all like items that everybody knows so well, and it would be so hard for people to mistakenly identify all of these items, like to have them all wrong. I mean, I know, like
Right.
we still. I mean, I get that we still find new ones, but a lot of times, a lot of the new ones are a little bit more obscure, a little bit more of a stretch, a little bit harder to remember, because we're having to dig deeper and to find to pay closer attention to detail. I get all that, but what I'm trying to say is this is such a great collection of all the classics. It's a shame if you don't have it anymore.
Oh, I
It's like
dumped it, man. I dumped it. I had to last. I want to say October. No, it was earlier than that. July, June or July. I kept trying to get away from this. I needed to get away from this. It was like I don't know. It was experiencing what I'm experiencing now, except I didn't know it. I don't know how to explain it other than that. And I just knew I had to get away from it. But I was getting pulled back in. And I kept going on chats. I would come in here and chat, and I was like, I got to stop that. I got to stop listening. I got to stop chatting. I got to just leave it alone for a little bit. And I would try and take these breaks all the time. Wouldn't happen. Finally, I just said, screw it. I deleted my whole Google account and just grabbed the trash can and threw everything that was mine out.
well, I can relate to that because it can consume you, and it almost sounds like that's what was happening, and you came to a self realization that you were maybe letting it take too much of a stronghold on your identity as a person. I mean, as much as I love talking about the Mandela effect and staying up to date on it, like watching some, checking out a Scarab show or Curiouser and Curiouser with Teresa and Sandy, or a new Moneybags video comes out, or even something that recently made. I mean, I'll still pop in and check a video just to stay up to speed, but do I wake up every day thinking and letting it consume me and being that's all I think about? No, I sometimes Hero and I won't even bring up the Mandela effect for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, but it's still a very interesting phenomenon, and it's worth discussing on occasion. But I can see how you went from feeling too extreme, maybe that you needed to walk away for a little bit. I can definitely relate to that.
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't do it. I just kept going back, I just and of course I'm looking at this thing, even though this wasn't really set up that way at the time. It's still, I was still looking at it every day. I was still, so I bagged some things. I brought some things to the thrift shop down the street, like all the CDs and stuff I already have on my computer or whatnot. Most of the food was either empty or bad anyway, I guess. Probably. I just tossed it.
I wish I could have been part of the community when it was in its infancy, when it was growing, and when those first channels were popping up, and been part of the boom when it happened.
Yeah, I guess it was. I mean, because we were all scratching our heads. So,
but I'm sure it was a lot more exciting at the time. Everybody coming together, comparing notes. I mean, I could just see how, like, when it was kind of a newer thing, how it could have been just a little bit more harder to it would probably it would have happened to me. I would have been consumed by it. I would have probably done something similar to what you're doing there, as far as wanting to get as much evidence as possible and having a. Yeah.
I mean, this collection was an accident. I just started picking things up. The shirt I was actually wearing, I mean, they change when they're up here. I would be walking in a store, and there was one thing, like, I think it might be this dinosaur. The sucker was like $20, and I'm like, I don't need a dinosaur. And I'm like, oh, just do it. Just do it. I'd be walking by this movie here. I don't think I've ever watched it. I just know it was called The Corpse Bride. I bought the DVD. I got these older ones in a thrift store for $1. They were nothing. I was walking through it. I was like, all right, I think I spent $4 on like 9 movies like this that were Mandela effects. So it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And at one point, I'm like, this has got to stop. I was doing interviews at the time with people, so that was nice. It was a nice little background and all, and I really felt like I was commercializing it too much. I felt like
I remember when you would do your trivia in the bar, your Mandela trivia. I always thought that was pretty neat. I wish we would do something like that on here.
Why can't you? Well, you could, because everybody knows the answers.
Right.
It's more fun I can see how it'd be more fun to do it at a bar with real people interacting, and that sounds like a lot more fun. Yeah.
Wow, I was gonna say that was weird. I think we may have just.
Sorry about that. Sadji, I took you out there for a second. I was trying to take down Susso's screen share, and he beat me to it. So I ended up taking you down instead.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't even realize I was gone. So
he never left. We shifted. That's what happened.
Yeah, there you go.
I forget what I just said, but oh well.
I'm sure it was something important and interesting and entertaining.
I'm sure it was a bunch of bull crap as well.
Wait a minute. Winnie the Pooh is a female bear?
Since when?
Winnie the Pooh are the books. They're the books that I would always read to my daughter.
Yeah, that
he sounded like a boy. I can tell you that much. He didn't have a feminine voice.
Right. Well, that was on I forget which Mandela Monday or one of those they were talking about it.
Yeah, and apparently SpongeBob is gay now too.
Well, he's always been gay,
Well, you know what I mean.
I think that was more of a change within the walls of Nickelodeon, because now on Nickelodeon, everything is gay. Everything is what do you call it, PC or whatever, they have to do that. Where back in the heyday of Nickelodeon, you saw things like you can't do that on television, and Salute Your Shorts, and all those other great shows that I can't even remember right now. But
I mean, how is taking a classic cartoon character that you've always never even worried about his gender, and all of a sudden having to proclaim it PC? You know what I mean? To me, that in itself is not PC. That's kids when they're watching SpongeBob don't need to worry about what his sexual preference is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm too old school. I don't know. But I don't want my kid to be concerned with SpongeBob's, if Patrick needs to be careful around him or not. You know what I mean?
It's more that.
Yeah.
True.
I see your point, man. It's kind of funny, though. You say Patrick needs to be careful around him. maybe that's, now they're coming out, and they used to make accusations that Bert and Ernie are gay. Maybe they actually are now. Maybe Bert and Ernie came out of the closet.
Well, you know, they did. That's because they were like an odd couple, like literally like the show The Odd Couple, where they lived together and they had beds set up in a room. Like their beds were, they shared a bedroom, but they had their own bed. But it was kind of skeppy, the Bert and Ernie thing. I'll give that from day one. Even as a young adult, I used to scratch my head watching some of their bits, but
I don't understand that. They were roommates. I never did. I don't know.
right.
Here's the thing: if they had two separate beds, why was Bert always complaining that Ernie was leaving crumbs in the bed? The bed. Think about it.
Well, just because it was funny, it made the bit funnier. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It was subtly left question sub SUBTLY questionable at times. But at the same time, I don't even want to know if they are or if they're not. It's not something I even want to think about.
Yeah, it's the interruption here. Hey, brother, what's up? Father's love, as always.
Yeah, we got what's good in the chat room. What's going on in chat? Anybody?
Looks
Looking?
like Johnny Walker and some Anheuser Busch. That's I guess.
Oh man, moment of silence. You don't get that too often around here.
I'm just so exhausted. I'm sure I could go off on more Mandela effects. I mean, that's just the thing. You know, what's the answer? What is it? Okay, physical reality is malleable. It shifts. It changes. And through my experience, we can. Oh, I almost had the word. I've been using the word maneuver. Maneuver the outcomes. Maneuver where we want to go, and I'm like, okay, so why am I here? What do I got to learn? Let's learn it, because
The meaning of life, I think, kind of goes like it's one of those type of deals, you know. Once you figure it out, once you figure it all out anyway, it's I think the mystery is where you know the value lies. I don't think I think it's in the, you know, I'd rather I'd rather be questioning the answer than to be, you know, to have the answer to all the questions. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how.
Something just occurred to me though. What if? Because see, I'm like, see, I'm on board with the infinite and quantum thing, but I'm sure it's something so much more than that, or not at all. I mean, I don't think my theories are right, because I've also been jumping on this. Everything is consciousness, and it just depends on where you're tapped into consciousness, and even that, I think there's so much more to that.
Right, and you know what? I think that the answer is a combination of all of the above.
And it could be, but what I'm saying is, if we're going to combine things here, now we got these some people, and I'd say myself included. I've looked into the reset. It looks like we could be going through some sort of reset right now.
Mm-hmm.
But what if, as a theory, what if it doesn't matter what timeline we're in at this point? We are going to, like, I heard it on Brian Staveley's channel. Bob from Globebusters said this is going to. They're talking about a singularity and it coming to a point, so there's going to be more Mandela effects that are even more obvious, and they're going to get bigger. And I've said that in my book. I said I agree with that. I really think that's a possibility, but then that's only if these theories stand. I mean, there's. I've also ran over that this is the only physical reality, and things are actually changing.
Well, here's the part that gets me on that. I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that there could be even more Mandela effects happening that we're missing. That we can't even see them. Like they happened, the change happened, but it got past even the keenest eye, even even the people who are notice any Mandela effect. You see what I'm saying?
I think I see what you're saying. Like a forest ranger or somebody that studies trees looks right over that some tree just changed its molecular structure or something and just lets it go, or maybe they took the download. They're so close to it they don't see the change. So none of us are going to notice that some form of tree changed. You know, nobody's ever going to come across anything like that.
And it seems like we are coming across more and more and more species and plants and things that never existed all of a sudden. Like I just saw an article today about a 6-foot bat that they filmed.
Seen it.
Is that in Africa?
Yeah, I think it was in Africa. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, this thing descends down on people and eats them.
No, the article said they only eat fruit, but can you imagine seeing a 6-foot bat, a bat that stands as tall as you?
There's only one place I've ever seen a 6-foot bat, and that was at Gotham City.
Here we go.
Yeah. Hey, I had to say that. You know that.
I'm not wearing
but no, you know, getting back to seeing the effects and not seeing the effects, I also think it's a matter of perspective. Like, I think the closer you are to something, the less likely you are to see it.
Right, I agree. That's true. And I cut you off, Susso, a minute ago. You were talking about the different theories. You're about to go into another one, I think.
I was.
You had mentioned you were talking about the different.
All I was trying to get to was like, what if? Okay, because at first it was my theory that the lower dimensional timelines were disintegrating or being destroyed or whatever, and that's why a lot of the things to me seemed more obvious or better, but not all of them, and that only could have been because I just wasn't seeing what was obvious. And if that was the case, I'm almost thinking it wouldn't matter what timeline you're into. These are terms that I'm not even comfortable with using anymore, even though it's like the theory I stand by the strongest. But it wouldn't matter what timeline you're in, just how you're going to experience the reset, which might. I've even speculated that this might be a total motherboard wipe. This might not even be like a mud flood reset, and just see how it goes, because we're starting to see everything that's underneath. You know, people are talking about the the giants. They're talking about the giants because of the bricks. These mountains, some of them look like bricks. We got the trees, the mountains. What are they called? Mesas that look like tree stumps, and they're saying giants used to live here. And a lot of the mountains out here, I filmed some of them. I mean, they look like. I wish that'd be so cool if it just popped up here, because I feel like well, they look like bricks. They look like straight up bricks to me, some of these things. So, and other people have been, I don't, focus on that stuff, but I'll watch other people's material on that. It's something I don't really investigate. So I like looking at that stuff. I just think there's a possibility of that, and I just thought, wow, if we're now,
I like entertaining the different theories. Though I can't say that I fully endorse one over the other. There's one that I've just planted my flag in, and that's the one I'm sticking with. I think I want to keep my mind open to new possibilities. Until there's one unequivocally, undoubtedly that stands tall above the others. But another one that I like to entertain is the Earth. The Earth going from Sagittarius arm into Orion spur. Like it's almost like the old Earth somehow went through a black hole or something, a portal,
or whatever. That also could have been, honestly, it could have been just complete name changes. I don't think so. Well, no, that's not true, because I'm just thinking out loud, I guess. No, because they look the same in them areas. So I guess I'm wrong about that. All
But I
right.
think that would explain some of the historical and geographical Mandela effects, because
We're in the
the
Middle
Earth
East
could have
there?
been slightly altered in its journey or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
One theory I'd like to throw out, it's kind of far out there and it's kind of silly, and I guess it's because I watch a lot of Star Trek or whatever, but my theory was a long time ago that our old Earth had been destroyed by some kind of nuclear war, and all of our memories were erased, and they beamed us off of the old Earth just before it exploded and put us all into a new Earth that they created in the holodeck.
Oh, and here's another great one I came up with on my
I
own.
mean, that's just
Why not?
go ahead, man. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm with you, hero. I got you.
Yeah.
And then how about this one, guys? You know, like in Back to the Future, Biff goes back with his book, right? So he can go back and make himself a millionaire because he knows all the baseball game, you know, or whatever, the betting. You know what I'm getting at? So what if somebody went back in time and they just all they had was a memory of things the way they were, and they decided, okay, I'm going to try to make certain things, or like the file was, or like is better yet, like not really like they went back in time, but like there was, like you said, a reset. Like somebody went back in time and had a reset file, like it was like a loading disk to reload.
How about
To reload the reality,
the reset?
but the file was slightly corrupt. So some of the things were just some of the data was missing, and they just had to fill in the blanks as best they could. So they, you know, they forget, like the magic mirror on the wall was like the best thing the AI could come up with. I don't know, just a theory.
That's all we all got. That's all we all got, right? Because I'm wondering. I guess it just depends. Even if it depends on where you put your consciousness, if we can manipulate our reality, I guess.
But I don't feel like it's a dark thing. Sometimes I hear people talk about how it's scary, how it's a sign of evil, and I just don't. I don't feel any type of creepy evil feeling when I experience the Mandela effect. Sure, it is a little unsettling, but there's nothing evil about it, in my opinion.
No, I think you can communicate with it. I don't think it's evil at all. I think it's been messing with some people. You get a personal Mandela effect. It's trying to get your attention. And why? Because we can live in the reality we desire, we more prefer, rather than living through resets and everything. We probably, do we have to go through all this? Maybe we don't. And that's the other thing, is there just the next civilization and we all just don't remember? And these people that are trying to put their minds in AIs and all that crap, is that just them trying to survive the reset? I just, more silly theories.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds silly when you say it, but there's got to be it's crazy when you come to the only logical explanation is something illogical,
That's so true. It's just weird. Yeah. It's like, wow, the weirder it is, the more plausible, the more. It's like, I'm telling you, it's like something else is coming, and I don't know what that is. I suspect dinosaurs. It's going to be something unexpected. I've said it. I've heard others say it. I agree with that. Is it going to be like, I don't know, because it was weird. How do you prepare for the Mandela effect? That was, everybody was preparing for the end of the world, and it was just the Mandela effect. To me, that's what they were preparing for.
Yeah, I don't know how I could prepare. The only thing I can think of would be to to try to enhance my photographic memory so that I don't miss new ones.
Oh, I don't even bother anymore. If I see something, I try and get the message out of it right away. Because sometimes now, if I see something, instead of just blowing it off and laughing it off like I've been doing, now I figure, hey, maybe there's a message in that I need now. You know, maybe when I first saw Ford, maybe there was a message there for me then. You know, and
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
message the message is still integrating. What I'm trying to get at is like we forget. It's easy for us in the community to forget once we're initially shocked by it, and then go through all the stages of acceptance with it, and then come to it being commonplace. There's still so many people out there who haven't you don't even who don't even know about it yet, or yet to experience it, not because they're incapable of it. They just haven't taken time to notice yet.
it's
And
really, really weird. But when I was not so much recently, but back when I was behind the bar and talking with people about it, there would be waves. It would come in waves where everybody I ran into heard about it, or then it was all of a sudden nobody heard about it, and then the next wave would be people would be angry if I brought it up, and then we'd go back to them. Most people I would talk to, if not all, heard about it at the very least and were interested. It was just wave after wave, and it was always the same. It was always
that
together.
gives you a unique perspective. The fact that you're able to do that you have the bar, that you're able to bring it up, and you're able to capture those moments for people, and to be in tune with how people, like what you were just describing, the waves. That would be a very unique perspective. You're blessed in the way, in a sense that you're able to actually be part of that on a regular basis, because that's got to be a unique experience.
Well, yeah, but just because of my personality, I don't think it would have mattered. I think no matter where I was, I would have been like this. I mean, I worked in Atlantic City for 27 years. They expected me to have something going on in the supernatural, paranormal, esoteric, God, whatever it was. I was always dipping my head into something, and everybody at work, had to listen to me. So, and I never, I guess it was different back then. Maybe I don't know. Some people would say, "Oh, you can't talk about that stuff." I'm like, "What are you kidding me? This is America." talk about aliens if I want. Talk about aliens. That was the big thing. It was always aliens. Never saw a UFO or anything. Every once in a while, I'd see something in the sky. That's for sure. But it was
That,
never.
that's another thing that seems to come and go in waves. I mean, I'm not really in the UFO circles, like, looking at all the YouTube channels every day, but there are a couple podcasts I listen to, about once or twice a week that it comes up, and it does seem like I
hey.
get guys like the sightings and the abductions and all that kind of stuff. It slows down for a little while, then all of a sudden it picks back up again, and then it slows down for a little while, and then it picks back up again. Would you agree with that?
As far as finding Mandela effects popping up,
No, I mean in the UFOlogy, like the UFO,
I
like the
didn't.
whole sightings of UFOs and stuff like that.
Uh, I guess no, because it seems to me all the UFO information I got was always later. It was like always years after the fact.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I
that's.
see what you're saying.
I mean, I remember my big thing was like Vladimir Valerian and the Matrix series. Um, Very interesting stuff. He correlates it with Robert Monroe's studies. You're familiar with Robert Monroe?
I've heard the name before, but refresh my memory.
Oh, he created machines, I guess, whatever lays down on him, leaves his body and goes to different levels of the afterlife.
Oh, okay.
Very.
Yeah, see, I'm a big skeptic when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I can still be intrigued by it, though.
Mhm. Well, I'm not an expert on it, so we could talk about something else.
What's
Well,
that
here's
noise?
I'm like,
The people, they are practicing social distancing with motorcycles.
Oh, okay.
I
that's
got
what
the
it sounds like.
it's like it's almost 60 degrees now. It's beautiful out, and I got the door open.
Now,
Well,
I got a question for you, Suso.
Oh boy.
Now, of all those times when you were at the bar, because I've watched some of the videos where you're playing the trivia and stuff,
Yeah.
especially late at night. I like to watch. That's when I like to watch stuff like that. And I can you give me a great like a good story, like one of the ones that kind of stood out above the others?
Yes, there is one guy. I when I told him about my impalement, his eyes lit up. And he says, "Can I tell you a story or something?" And I have him videotaped at the bar talking about his story. And it went, him and his friends were in the car. He was in the passenger seat, four people in the car. And they hit a bump or something and went over the rail on a highway. And they were looking straight down at the ground, the road down below. And then the next thing, they were on the highway driving away like nothing happened.
Oh
Nothing,
wow!
nothing in between. And I was explaining to him about when my car was up on two wheels and then I hit the ground, nothing in between. It was like I was up on two wheels and then it was flat on the thing. There was no movement in between. That's I think the part that I may have told him that triggered his story. And I was like, yo, let me film this. And I pulled it out and he told that. And he says, even to this day, he will talk to his friends and he'll say something like, listen, I was thinking about that day when we went over the side, guys. Did that really happen? And they'll be like, yep. They go, yeah, it really happened. And the ones he talks to now, they still agree. And
Yeah, well, at least he had people with him, because it would have been worse to experience it in the car by yourself, because then you would have really questioned it even more so, because you wouldn't have had anybody to confirm it with, you know?
Well, it's kind of weird because, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, okay, if they all died in that car, they just all died for the people that loved them and they're leaving behind. Like if there's a car accident and one person survives, I figure they all survived in their own timeline. Assuming they're not going to be crippled unless they want to experience that, and I don't know, or whatever any other kind of accident, or you know what I mean. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Is there a point where you're like, well, no, we'll just shift you into another timeline where you didn't have the
No,
accident?
I can relate to that, because I've had a lot of close calls. I drove for a living for a long time, and I've had a lot of like really close calls where I literally like instant react, turn the wheel, just barely dodged a collision, or a rock come off of a truck in front of me. It was, like a baseball sized rock coming straight from my windshield, and I cleverly dodged it, coming straight at me, and things like that, where I almost feel like like time almost like freezes there for a minute, where it gives you a chance to react and continue your destiny.
I understand what you're saying. I understand that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've felt that. I mean, it's strange stuff. So, okay, so we're here and we're here to experience this. Even if we don't figure it out, even are we supposed to figure it out? I say keep searching. I don't. I mean, it's like, wow, should we be searching or should we just be enjoying this? And well, yeah, we should be searching and we should be trying to figure out, to me, how to maneuver reality so we can live a life we desire.
100%. Yeah, I agree. You guys were mentioning earlier about, is this a mystery? Should it be a mystery? Should we find out all the mysteries of the universe? I think if we found out all the mysteries of the universe, number one, our minds just couldn't take it. And that's why we're getting all this in gradual doses. And number two, I think it would be a very boring life if we all of a sudden found out all the mysteries of the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can relate to that.
That depends.
Go ahead, Susso. You go first.
I would just say that depends on if we have already experienced everything or not. Do you get me?
Yeah, and another thing I was going to add to that is, like sometimes I think that we can't handle all the whole truth at once, and it has to be kind of microdosed to us for levels of acceptance. I mean, I don't think that our brain could manage an entire reality shift all at once and keep our sanity.
Right, which would be how you teach children slowly. You bring them in slowly, and That's why I'm just, I know there's one theory that um, we all came from God. Well, because God's the only thing that existed or exists, and so we came from God and we're going back to God, and that always confused me. I'm like, well, I guess that's okay. God's trying to have fun. I don't know. Because what or just to experience or to learn and grow from that way. It's God. What are you talking about? Um, so I can't help, there's other things like I'm coming up with stuff that I would have never have thought about before ever because I'm going, well, why not? Wait a minute. Now, why not? Wait a minute, because I have experience with something outside of the physical body, meaning an out of body experience. I've had those. I know something's there. I've shot back in my body quite a few times right before dozing off to sleep. I've also had one specific lucid dream. I mean, I know there's something there. Okay, so, but what is it? I'm told it's a spirit. I'm told it's a soul. I'm told it's me. I'm told it's my higher self. It's whatever I'm told. So I thought, well, how do I take all that away and go, okay, well, maybe I do have a soul. Maybe I do have a spirit, but what if I'm just always physical? What if the real me is just always physical? I'm not on board with that at all, but I'm throwing it out there. I'm like, what if it's just, or I'm, the whole computer program thing. What if we're just characters in a game? I don't mean to say that as a negative thing. Or as a heartless thing. But we have consciousness. So, no, we don't have consciousness. We're tapped into consciousness. We are consciousness. So no, okay, I'm done thinking out loud. Them two went away. That's fine. I can talk. I'll come up with something.
No, I
Well,
hear you. I mean, the fact that you're trying to think it all through in itself, that's part of the human experience. I mean,
Science. That's what I'm doing. I'm picking it all apart. And that's what I've been doing. And with the trying to figure out what is behind the Mandela effect, who's doing it. I don't know. I think it's more of how. See, I've had experience with the stars. They communicated with me or whatever it is they did. So either they're intelligent or something behind it is intelligent. I tend to think they're intelligent and there's something behind it intelligent. But I don't know that. I mean, this is just with the stars. I can say for sure that there was some intelligence there. Absolutely, 100% for sure. I can say that. Any further, I would definitely. I can. Yeah, I think they're individuals. I don't. Some of them. I don't know. I'd be speculating. But with the experience there, yes, there's something there. Is it what they've told us here? I don't think so. It's just my theory. Theory. It's not even a theory. It's my belief.
yeah, I think you got to go with what your what your what your inner self feels that when you look up at the stars at night and on a clear starry night, you can't help but be in awe of amazement, no matter how many times you've seen them before. No, when you really just look up at the spectacle of the sky in itself, it's awe inspiring. It's spiritually moving. It has so much to offer, so much that you can stare at it every night and study it, profoundly, and still not ever absorb all the information that's up there for you to look at. So there's got to be something magical, or I hate to use the word magical, but something pristine about the whole thing that's beyond our comprehension, because it literally is beyond our comprehension. And I don't know that it's necessarily there for us to figure it all out. It's there for us to rejoice in the splendor thereof. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but I think it's meant to make us realize that there is a design, that there is a something, a higher power, a God, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. There's something
the labels
bigger than us.
Okay, but okay, that brings up something else too. But the words and the labels, I don't think matter at all. Um, it's like you said, you didn't want to use the word magic, and I'm like, I try to steer away from something like that too. But to me, it's just these people are doing the same thing we're doing, just using different words and terms. And if we can't get past that, man, we can't get past the labels, the words, the terms. That's a problem. I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I agree with that too. It's so hard for me to pick and choose words sometimes to describe what I'm trying to say, but and then you hear so many words get overused in certain circles that it becomes like you almost start to feel like you're just regurgitating what you heard. Some I hate when I just hear somebody just saying what I've heard somebody else say 15,000 times. I mean, who wants to sit and listen to that same old? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like beating a dead horse, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Uh, so I wondered about that about my channel for a while there. I'm like, I don't have any content to put out. I mean, this
But I'll
is
tell you what, you coming on the show tonight, we've definitely provoked some imaginative thoughts and came up with some clever ideas. You've helped. I'm so glad you're able to come on or that you're here, I should say, and that we're able to kind of knock some of these things out the box. This has turned out to be a really deep, thoughtful discussion that we're coming up with here.
yeah, can't help it. That's for me. That's what it's about. It's about that. It's about finding truth, understanding it, searching it, and applying when you find something that works for you. It almost doesn't have to be one answer, does it?
Speaking the truth, and I don't mean to get off the topic here, but I really appreciated that video you put out here recently, man. That was an awesome, well put together, well thought out video, and
Yeah, I thought we were going to play it.
congratulate you.
Can we play it?
Well, that's what I was getting ready. Just chill out there, Mister
I always
Saji.
forget you like to segue, and then I always want to like so
Yeah,
I'll hit break.
You're
you
welcome to play it.
I like to segue slowly. I like to dip my toes in the pool, so to speak, before jumping all the way in. Uh, but no, Mister Suso. I, as I was saying, I really appreciate that video, man. I have a lot of love for this community, and I think that when something is one way and you feel strongly about something and it's in your heart and in your guts, you should come out and just come out and say it. And you said it in a way that I could never express, but I was going to make a video about that, but you know what? Thank you for that. Thank you for doing that.
I guess you're welcome. There's so many there's so many changes I'd love to make to it now. But just, I mean, if you look at it, I really only disliked two of the speakers. I think one.
Okay, so I haven't seen the video, but I'm I'm not really I'm not sure what the context is, but I'm starting to put it together.
Well, one
But
one
here's the
in
thing.
particular,
That
and
being
that's the
said,
only thing I really was going to talk about, and it just seemed like so many people were upset with other things. So let me try and break this down and be diplomatic about it. I think there's areas I could have been more diplomatic. I think there's areas I could have brought more stuff up. I tried not to repeat myself. The thing was 2.5 hours long at one point, where I started to just sit quietly to find out, if it was going to be a 2.5 hour video, and then I, go for a break or whatever, and I come back and I sit down. I realize there's just no way I'm going to do that for 2.5 hours. I mean, and basically I was repeating myself over and over again because it was 5, maybe 6 days of filming. Like I would catch an interview. I wasn't watching them in order. I would catch them live if I could. But it was the one video that was on the third day that really made me start paying attention and just to see what these people were putting out. And I know them. I know all of them. I mean, I know all the people that are involved in the IMEC community, and that's, it's like I met these people. So I was a little confused and surprised at some things, and I believe I stated them. It started out as 6.5 hours of footage. I took my own emotions out of it so much. I still have this footage. I'm like, I need to get rid of this. I don't need this anymore. There's things that I was talking about. I would go off on different subjects. Just start talking about the stuff that I want to put online, the stuff that I want to put back on my channel, get back into that stuff. So I got to go through all that again, pull that stuff out, because a lot of it was really interesting. I don't want to go through all that again. And there's just, I know I'm going to come across things, go, oh, how did that not get in there, and this and that. And it just took forever to put together. I got it down to an hour and 11 minutes and 14 seconds. And I thought to myself, oh, I could make that 1 easily, right? I could chip off 3 seconds somewhere, and I did that. And then I watched it and I just went, no, you know what? It's just, there's things I said, my emotions I was too involved in some of the things I said. So I kept taking that footage out. But there was no footage of the Lauren Cannell thing. Everything I said there, I was, just passionate about it. It was a couple of times I was calm. I was trying to make points and trying to get my point across. I was just too emotional or passionate, I guess. I could have toned it down. I mean, it's how I felt, and I still feel that way. It's just I feel like, God, why couldn't I just state the facts and get out? Well, that's not me. There were some topics I feel, well, I didn't need to get into them, but if I'm going to do one person and just talk about the one, let me check them all out, and I'll do a little thing on everybody. And I look at it and I'm like, well, most of it, personally, I enjoyed most of it. That's not the way I portrayed it in this video. Okay, I could, and it's because of that one video. That crap outweighed the whole thing. Even though a lot of people were complaining there wasn't enough Mandela effect material, I agree with that. Other people were complaining that they were breaking balls on the flat Earth people. I needed to go into that diplomatically because I wasn't sure how I felt. I'm like, yeah, it does look like he's breaking balls, but maybe he's just doing his presentation. I find him to be a smart man. So I met him. So that confused me. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, well, now I'm assessing all these people. How do I do this? And I sat quietly, and it was just say the truth. So it was like 5 days of that, and trying to chip away and edit all that together. And another one, Sean, I didn't watch enough of his video to really assess it. It's like I got on there, heard what I expected, and made my assessment. I don't think that's right that I did that. I did the same thing with Eileen 1, although I stated that. I stated it with hers, not with his. And I was like looking for things that I may have misspoke on. I don't think I did. I think sometimes I could have toned it down. I think sometimes I could have toned it up.
Let me just say this real quick though. When that first thing all came out, I had Dark Wolf on the channel. I had him on this very Taco Tuesday show, and I promoted all of that. I said good things about it, and this is before I, of course, knew what all was going to go down. But yeah, I was all for it, and I would still be all for it if it was all about the community and if it was all about Mandela effects and so forth. But of course, that wasn't the what's the word I'm looking for here? The agenda they were trying to push.
So I said I felt like there was some other agenda going on. Is that the case, or did it just accidentally look like that? I mean,
well, I think. I mean, to be fair, when you have a conference like that and you have guest speakers come in, they have like shticks that they do. They have books that they want to sell. They have a base that they need to make sure they cater to. That's not necessarily strictly Mandela effect, but still, if you're coming to a Mandela Effect conference, you'd think you would focus more on that topic than some of your normal stuff that you would talk about at a different type of conference. But
Yeah.
I think that
You know what,
I think that's
Sedgy,
kind of like
here's the
where
thing,
a lot
real
got
quick.
lost in translation.
Here's the thing, real quick though, Sedgy. You remember you and I had a discussion before Dark Wolf even came on the show, and you had mentioned to me. Now I know who some of these people are, but there's a lot of people I don't even
Oh,
know who they are. And
yeah, I'd say
you got
80%
mad.
of them I'd never heard of before. But you know, but I was questioning my own self. Like, well, you know, I'm fairly new to the community. I've only been here a year and a half, so you know, I remember saying to you, let's make sure we ask Dark, because I asked you, I showed you the IMAX stuff. I'm like, you see these people? Do you know who any of these people are? And you were scratching your head as well. You had never heard of them. So one of the things I wanted to make sure I did when he came on the show was to get him to tell us who these people are and how they're part of the community. And of course, we got sidetracked talking about Chris Sinatra and a couple other people that we weren't familiar with. I didn't really get to drill in on him on who are these other people, but I just had to assume that they were, you know, established members of the community that I just hadn't became familiar with yet. But even now, at this moment, I'm not 100% sure that that's even the case for most of the people that were there. I mean, of course, I know who Eileen was. I knew who Moneybags was, and I was familiar with Chris's recent, you know, stuff that he just started doing. But most of the other people I'd never heard of before.
No, yeah. I guess you might as well just put it on. I don't know. I mean, I'm tired of looking at it, and I think I was. I don't know. People say I'm abrasive when I talk.
Well, if you could, if you want to share that, we can. But I mean, if you feel uncomfortable watching it again, then we don't have to.
I'm not. I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. People can go to my channel and watch it if they want. I don't. I mean, unless you
True.
want to. I mean, I just. To me, if
I know we.
I'm gonna be stopping you, going, "Hey, look, I would have changed this to this." It's just tiny little things that aren't going to matter. My point was the Lauren Cannell stuff. That's what triggered me bringing in a mental health doctor to a Mandela Effect conference. I understand people are talking with other doctors. It wasn't like that. This woman made a decision that we're mentally ill, and she was going to diagnose us. And it's just silly to bring that stuff in there. And I just think that needed to be said. The other stuff just felt like I should give everybody a little. This is how I felt about each video. It's funny because all of the I line up. I was how did I word it? Because it's the right way to say it. When I first got into some of these things, one of the stepping stones for me was New Age information. So you know, when I hear people talk about that stuff, I get it. I understand what they're talking about. I don't really follow that same thought of belief anymore, but I get it. So there were 3 speakers there that did a few talks. I enjoyed them all. I got tired of it because after the first day, there was the Regina Meredith lady. I understood her talk. I was buried about why there wasn't anything Mandela in it, especially after listening to the first Chris story. You know, I was like, wow, it really could have been more Mandela Effect based. You know, and then that went on like that, and I kept thinking, wow, where are the Mandela Effect stuff? You got Shane slipped in there, and Moneybags. You know, it was like, okay, cool. But I wasn't watching all this stuff in order either, and I wasn't going towards Moneybags and Shane and Cynthia Sue Larson because I knew what they were going to talk about. I knew what to expect, and I was right on all of them. They were going to talk about Mandela effects or whatever their theories were, or what they were doing with their channels about the Mandela effect. The Chronos guy, the same thing. I said that in the video. I said, I got a bunch of people here that don't need to be in this video because I'm critiquing it only trying. No, I wasn't even. I was just watching, or it was all because of the one video that was claiming we were all traumatized, and that's why we see Mandela effects. She didn't. That's not verbatim. She did not say it that way, but she inferred. And
Yeah, I hear you. Also, I didn't really get into it the way once I started watching it and absorbing it. It really didn't. I really wasn't like feeling it either. Like the way I was hoping. It turned out to be somewhat of a disappointment for me once it was all over said and done with. And but there were still positive things that happened in it. And I was going to ask you, what would you say would be the most positive takeaway you would say that you experienced from it, or that you thought was like a good positive moment that happened?
I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. We're gonna, because I said in the video that I felt that Shane did the best job as far as I thought his video was really one of the best. And but now what we'll do, it's only a half hour long. How about I just show you my presentation?
Yeah, I would love that.
How about we share that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, but I don't know how to get out of this screen. This is ridiculous. So I'm not sure how to do this. Let me see. Where am I at? Share screen. I don't know. Will it be the application? No. Will it be Chrome 10? Yep, there we go. I think I might be able to do this.
All right. Can you give him the screen?
If you want to. Is it up?
Yeah, let me go ahead and pop it in there. There you go.
Am I up?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll full screen it, and I'll see you guys in a bit.
All right.
All right, cool.
Are you going to need volume?
Hi,
Can you hear it?
it's KLH.
Just barely.
I can't come to the phone right now, but if you leave your name and your phone number, wrong message. Welcome to my presentation. Did you know this is my second time closing out an IMAC conference? And seeing as there's been 2 IMAC conferences, that means I always do the last dance of the season. I feel like Patrick Swayze.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. Sorry about the disruption, folks. But I always do the last dance of the season. So I'm going to do my kind of dancing with a great partner. Somebody who's taught me that there are people willing to stand up for other people no matter what it costs them.
Sit down, Jake.
Sorry for the disruption, folks. Classic. Speaking of disruptions, how about this year so far? Whoa. Whoa. What is happening? Blue skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue
Data.
skies do I see.
I wasn't expecting you. I guess you weren't expecting me either. Well, I'm Anthony, and You guys probably know me from my YouTube channel, Susso, where I've done many videos for the past 5 years. No, that would be 4 years, and I've been affected by the Mandela effect for 5 years. Or maybe my book. Maybe you know me from my book, Mind Beyond Matter, the Mandela Effect. In my book, I've described such things that happened to me, paranormal, supernatural things that happened to me back in 2015 that were absolutely unbelievable. Being impaled and standing up without injury, having orbs descend upon me and put paragraph after paragraph into my head, scar switching arms. But the most intriguing chapter in that book, I didn't plan on writing. I initially wrote it to give the book some volume. It was the third chapter, Youth and Spirit. And it was about my childhood, and it did give the reader something to give a background on myself and my childhood and the spiritual and the spirituality that was in my life at that time. That chapter is so important to me now in my life, and there's no way I could have known it. The chapter itself was insignificant to me because I just wanted to fill space. I was trying to make the book thicker, to make it a real book. And what I experienced and what I found is that, see, in this chapter, I am communicating with my childhood friend, with just my invisible friend that played with me all the time. Invisible friend of mine felt like I should listen to it. I did not have to listen to it. I made my own choices. If it directed me to do something, I would do it because it was like information coming from a parent. Strict yet loving, but it was still always my choice. I didn't have a name for it then. It was just my friend. It was my light. It was a light that would shine right over my head. It was a spark of light. I remember this as a 4 or 5-year-old child. As I grew older, it was always still with me, and it was always in my heart. And I always felt extremely close to it. A bit through my teenage years, but I was very quiet about it, and it became less and less. The more and more society, the more and more I felt I had to conform to society, my friend would slowly dissipate away. I believed it. And to shun that away or to ignore it because it was time to be an adult, it was something, it was very hard for me to do. I remember this. But slowly it happened. It never dwindled away. It was always there. I just stopped listening. I grew up and lost touch. Very, very seldomly, I felt like if something was tragically wrong in my life, I might call on it, and I felt like it was there, or I pretended it was there. It was there. It was a matter of whether I believed it. I grew up and became an adult and went about physical reality until I discovered there was a conference in Mandela Effect conference in Ketchum, Idaho. There, I recognized it again, and not right away. For quite some time, I was connecting that with Kimberly Lynn Hansen. I made that connection that I wasn't making the connection that it was me that having that feeling. She was showing me. I saw it in action. And
when I would have that feeling while we were in Ketchum, I didn't exactly connect it with me as that feeling, as that friend, as what I remember in my childhood. Now, at first, I didn't meet Kimberly until practically the end of the conference. We did say hello when it first started, but that was it. She disappeared. I was listening to the people talk, going to the hot springs with other people, having meals, talking with the other people. The conference was over. Sunday night, we sat down in a common room, all talking. Everybody was talking amongst each other, and me and Kimberly started talking. And I took in so much information, more than her presentation. When she did her presentation, I was stuck to it. And I understood it as it was going on. And then when I left the room, it was like gone. And it wasn't, I just didn't absorb all of it. It was just, it seemed like a lot of information. And then when I was sitting down talking with her in the common room, it was all coming back. It was actually very strange. I didn't want to leave, but it was time to go. We said goodnight. And that morning, I wake up, and all I want to do is get back to Colorado. It's a 12-hour trip for me. It's all I wanted to do, get in that car and go. Said bye to Dan and Scott, and that would be Scarab Performance on YouTube and Guy Fawkes. That's how you would know them. They were my roommates there in Ketchum. I said bye to them and got in my car and went right up the street. Got to the first stop sign, and instead of going straight, I turned right. I turned right and got back into the hotel where the conference was. And I wasn't sure why. I just figured I'd say goodbye to some people. I was still excited. The energy was still high. I said goodbye to Unbiased and On the Fence, Shane Robinson, him and Sherry. Goodbye to a couple of other people. I believe I said goodbye to Chris Sinatra, Cynthia Sue Larson. And then I found myself sitting down next to Kim, who was on the phone, texting away. So have you packed up your artwork? And she said, no. And I thought, wow, that's it? No? Okay. And I was like, wow, that's a really strange attitude for all the things that seemed to need to happen. I was kind of taken aback by that. And I went, well, what time's your flight? I don't know, sometime tomorrow. So that was it for me. I was blown away. I was just going to sit back and go, okay. And then it just hit me. Something hit me. And I know what hit me, okay? It was my higher self. It was that friend. It was that childhood energy. Whatever it was I was in communication with back then was with me right then. And it said, help her. Give her a hand. So I thought, yeah, why not? So I said, hey, do you want some help putting the artwork together? She said, sure, let's go do it. She got up, I followed her into the room, and we went back there and we started putting the artwork together. So we're packing up this artwork, and we decide it's time to get something to eat. I proclaimed to Kim that I want to find a wish washer. When you find this wish washer, it's a washer. You put your wish in the hole, let it lead you to water, and you throw it in the water and your wish comes true. I want to find one. We no sooner walk out the door and Kim picks up a screw and hands it to me. Now, at first, I'm looking at this screw and I'm getting all excited. But I realize it's not a washer. So Kim says, do you understand what it is? And it's a screw. It's not a washer. And she goes, do you want me to explain it to you? And I'm like, well, yeah, because she says, it's your analytical mind taking the screw off before you can get to the washer. That was good enough for me. I was done. The exercise was over. As far as I was concerned, that was it. And this energy is with me all day. It's coming in all day. And I realized, wait, I need to rent a car for one more day. So we're sitting down, and I'm calling the rent a car people, and Kim's just saying, just watch, let it happen, it's going to turn out better. And I'm like, I'm just going to rent a car for an extra day. So I'm on the phone. I say, hi, how are you? Hi, how? She's real nice on the phone. We're talking. I explained to her that I needed an extra day for the car. She says, okay, let me see what I could do. And she says, oh, wait a minute, I'm having an issue getting in the computer. And she comes back and she says, I'm really sorry. I can give you the extra day. I can't charge you though. Better. It turned out better. Amazing. Neither of us know where we are in this town. And all we need is a hardware store. And Kim's telling me, just go with your heart. Let it happen. Go with your heart. This is what she's been teaching me the whole day. And I'm like, okay. And we pull over. And I'm just letting it happen. And I looked over. And there's the street. There's the hardware store we were looking for. It was right there, right where I pulled the car over. It was amazing. And the energy just got stronger. So we pull around and we go over to the hardware store. Kim's making friends with everybody she walks by. The guy behind the counter is thrilled to help her. I don't understand that. I've always had issues. Well, I guess he wasn't paying attention to what I was supposed to be paying attention to. The attendant directs us over to the aisle where the bungee cords are, and there were more bungee cords there than she just wanted to stand there and stare at them and enjoy the moment because we had everything we need and more. Worked out perfectly. The next morning, of course, the only thing that is on my mind is getting Kim to the airport on time. I'm to drop her off. Now I'm downstairs, I got my coffee, I'm looking. She finally comes down. She's calm, everything's great, no problems in the world. And I'm like, okay, let's get going. We got to get you to the airport. And eventually she told me, relax, calm down. Everything's fine. Everything's going to work out perfect. So we're on our way to the airport, and I make a statement like, man, I really wish I had more time to spend with Kim to understand this more. Because it wasn't just that I was getting it and I was using it and it was working. I was just starting to come to the realization that this was the same thing that I experienced in my childhood. And I wanted more. I didn't want it to go away. So we get to the airport and I'm still like, okay, we got to get her in there. We don't want her to be late. Kim's telling me, whatever happens, happens, and it's perfect, and it's going to be perfect. My brain is telling me, no, you miss your flight. That's not perfect. Nothing's going to go right now. Everything's going to get worse. I have to start getting upset, and that's not the case. But that's what I kept doing. And Kim was trying to, no, this is perfect. We're walking into the airport. Just as we're getting to the counter, we could see the doors closing. The tenants come over. They even want to see if they can open up the doors. They can't open up the doors. They're all uptight because we were so close for her to get her flight. We were that close, and they were doing everything they could to get her on that flight, but it just couldn't be done. And Kim's telling them, no, calm down, relax. It's okay. And I don't even think it was that far. She just calmed them down with her demeanor, just her being there. She ended up making friends with them, gave the attendant mustards. This is where it becomes better, which is so strange to me. But at the time, maybe not so much now. But she finds a connecting flight. And the attendant says, oh, but it's just stay over. And Kim's like, it's not a problem. I can stay the night. It's not a problem. And no sooner does the flight attendant booked the flight for Kim, and then Kim's phone dings, just like that, from a friend in the town that she's about to go to who needs her help. So Kim booked the flight before she knew. I mean, how does that happen? It worked out perfect. It also worked out perfect for me because I got to spend more time with this energy and learn more. And I did. We leave the airport. I believe we had about 4 hours maybe to kill before Kim's next flight out. So we decide to go to breakfast. We sit down. We're having breakfast. She was on the phone with a client. Now, this to me was one of the coolest things. She's on the phone with a client who puts her on hold. There's a song comes on and she says, "Oh, I love this song." And no sooner does the song come on the speakers in the restaurant that were eating it. It was things like that that were constantly happening. There were no breaks. And it just always worked out perfect or better or exactly how we expected. I don't even want to say expect. It's more of a knowing. So after breakfast, we're walking around and it was a cold day. And my head was chilly. I needed a hat. And I said, you know what? Let's find a store and we'll just go ahead and find a store and find me a knit hat. And I don't think we walked a half a block and we just went into this store. Now, as I recall it, I walked in and looked to my left, picked up this knit hat, and I thought, oh, that's nice. And I put it back down and walked away and started looking at some other things. And Kim's behind me and she walks over, picks up the same hat, and she goes, "Anthony, I found your wisher washer." It was on the knit hat. I picked it up and looked right at it. Didn't see it. I thought, it's not exactly the kind of knit hat I would normally wear. Besides, I believe it's a woman's hat. That might have had something to do with it. I don't know. But there's the washer. Okay, game was not over. Okay, there it was. Although, and Kim was nice enough to buy me this hat, so I'd be putting a wish in here, but I won't be throwing it in no water. I put my hat on, and I get Kim back, and do you believe this? You ready for this? She made her flight. Okay, yeah, I know. You thought I was going to say she missed it again. No, she made her flight, and her adventure began, and so did mine. I turn around, it's noon, and I'm heading to Colorado. It's a 12-hour trip. I should be home by midnight. Now, the Ketchum, Idaho conference took place the 8th, 9th, and 10th of November. And by the time I got back, I was practicing with this all the time. My instinct was to try and clear up the connection to make it an easier connection. Not necessary. It's just a matter of if I'm listening or not. But I didn't feel that way. I kept feeling like I had to do something, and you really don't. Like Kim likes to say, it's so easy. It's so easy. It really is that easy. You don't have to figure it all out. It's not necessary. Having an idea randomly and saying, let me go this way instead, let me do this, to enjoy the surprise factor. It's very exciting. It's new. And that's a key point there. It's new, and that's what you want to go for. The silly things, little things, just going down to work, and instead of trying to beat the Mandela effect down people's throats, especially when they weren't getting the answers the way I wanted them to answer, and trying to, this is the Mandela effect. Instead of doing that, I would connect to these people in other ways. And that changed my life. That changed my perception. Okay. And I was starting to look at things in a whole new light. Things just start to look differently. It was almost, I started to believe, I'm like, I always thought, why can't you be happy all the time? Is it really that impossible? It must be possible. But everything that seemed to happen, it was never that way, or something would always get in the way. Well, for almost a month, maybe a month, I was living that way, just happy all the time. The thoughts that would come in the morning, going like that, they're not my thoughts. Some of the things the orbs explained to me. Just going down, grabbing a cup of coffee in the morning, and go shoot out here on the porch. Now, on December 6th, 2019, I took a cup of coffee, cigarette, walked out on the porch here, and looked down at the mountains and saw this. The old me would have jumped all over the UFO, alien, the paranoid conspiracy, chemtrails, UFOs, or it's the Loch Ness Monster. It's Ford. It's the government. I blame my mother. Or Darth Vader. Well, they're after me. This is a sign. Murder, murder, death, kill. They're watching me. Or it's the Kit Kat. It's Darth Vader. No, it's definitely my mother. I would have been all over that. The first couple of friends I spoke to, absolutely like, whoa, what is that? There's so much going on in this picture. There's so much going on in that video. And then it dawned on me, I got to send this to Cynthia Sue Larson and Kimberly Lynn Hansen. And both of them came back with beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And my perception changed that quick because I was leaning towards, oh my God, what's going on? And they just pulled me right back with their whole mindset and attitude. And that quickly, it dawned on me. It's a wisher-washer. I have myself another wisher-washer right outside my window. Once I was inside the understanding of it being beautiful, other things started to come to me. I started to see other things in this. To me, at first, I understood it. Now, I was studying quantum physics at the time. So the first thing I saw was the null symbol, or the empty set. And then I spoke with a friend of mine who said, that's phi. And as I started to look that up, and I'm looking up phi, and I'm looking up empty set, and it's totally beautiful. Phi is the perfect symbol, the most beautiful creation, the golden ratio. Empty set is part of everything. Infinite potential in the form of nothing. It is nothing and everything. So you see, there is another way to interpret what is going on with the Mandela effect. We don't have to just chase the changes. We can interpret them. We can use them. We can use the message. The message is everything is perfect. It is showing us that what we relate to is our reality. What we create. What we focus on. What we choose is our reality. Choose beauty. Choose love. The man with the gun. The man with the gun being the Scarecrow and the Wizard of Oz, and Mandela effect. Look inside, said the man with the gun. This time, I wanted to label this thing. I wanted to label it. I wanted to call it something. And I had conversations with it, and it would keep telling me, you don't have to call me anything. I don't want you to label me. You don't have to call me anything. Call me whatever you want. I don't care. Now, I took that as, oh, now I'm connecting this with what other people connect it with. They call it other things. Okay, they call it Buddha. They call it Christ light. They call it whatever they call it. And I went to these people and said, hey, you don't have to name it. You don't have to call it. Said, no, you're not listening to me. I said, you don't have to name me. You don't have to give me a label. I don't care what they call me. If I don't care what you call me, why would I care what they call me? This is fun. I enjoyed this.
Woohoo!
Good. I want the surprise.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Wait for it.
Now I had the time of my life.
Murder, death, kill.
Never felt like this before.
Okay, ready?
Yes, I swear
Okay, 3.
it's a truth, and I owe it all to you.
Look at how nice you are. Okay, what about this? Or what about that?
I've been waiting for so long now. I'll find someone that
$3 million affected you people are the best.
Saw the writing on the wall as we felt this magical.
Like, stop. When you stop, it's going right now, fine.
there's no way we could disguise it secretly.
I'm going to cut you in. Okay, 3, 2.
Well, I'm Anthony, and you guys probably know me from my YouTube channel.
You're the one so I tell you.
It was so great, she missed her flight. I wanted more time with this to understand this, and you got it. I was like, whoa.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
And let's see what we got. Let's see what we can do. Like, wow, that's amazing. No, it's not. She expected it.
That was easy.
Well, let's start with. Hey, now, what are you doing here? Is this thing on? Not saying it right. But I'm going to give it to you the best way I can.
I want you more than you'll ever know.
And I said, so what time's your flight? Sometime tomorrow. Everything she was expressing to me was what her presentation was about. Just let life take over. Let it happen.
Yes, I know it's on your mind when you say, stay with me tonight.
Look at all the people.
Oh, hi.
I can't get enough of
Tell you something. It's the
That's right. It doesn't matter what you call it. Hi, my name is Buttercup. Alaska, from school, and tighten things up. I'm learning to enjoy the surprise factor.
Yes, okay, it's your new mantra.
So easy. Yeah, it's so easy. Thank you much for having me, everybody. Have a great night. You have sheet music on this stuff? What's beautiful up there?
Well, there you have it.
Whoa, that was pretty cool. That song at the near the end that really captured the feeling. You know, the way.
Oh yeah,
the way
for
he
sure.
did that. It was really well made. I was very impressed.
Susso said he'll be right back. He had to go do something real quick.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, I didn't know if you got the message or not. Well, with that being said,
What's your takeaway on all that? Do you have one, if anything?
I like the Blue Skies. That reminds me of Data when he was singing Blue Skies at Jonathan Franks. I mean, not Jonathan Franks. William T. Riker and Deanna Troy's wedding.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, and that was in Picard. I had forgotten that was in Picard. Of course, you know he's going to play something from Star Trek.
Right.
But man, I'll tell you what we'll do here since we're at the 2 hour and 22-minute mark. Let me go ahead and give this room one final shout out while we're waiting for Susso to return.
All right.
At the very beginning, we had Lorraine Lamore, Eddie Von Keen,
the real one,
with a wrench. The very lovely Catherine Snows, Go-Kart Bob, Armor Up, Chris from South Jersey, Philip Fogarty, one of the Fogarty brothers. Just kidding. Sagittarically speaking, Hebro from Eternia, Lorraine Lamore, Lotar 900, and Sagittarically speaking, how'd that guy get in here?
I think you're saying some of these names like 4 times just to fluff the numbers.
Oh no,
kind of like they do the Rona.
Oh, and of course we can't forget Teresa Lynch.
Oh yeah, Teresa was in there. That's right.
You know, it's funny. At the very beginning of the show, we had a flood of people come in, and they stayed during the duration. But I think once we got to the 2 hour mark, everyone started leaving.
Well, it is what it is. They might have just got sidetracked and stopped participating in chat as well. But either way, we had a good turnout tonight, and I'm glad for everybody who showed up. Uh, I had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you.
Well, I think we owe it all to Suso.
That's what I meant to say, yeah. But he wasn't back yet, so.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys were talking about UFOs a while ago. I wanted to get my 2 cents in, but you were all talking away, so I just let you have at it.
Well, it's never too late. What's your 2 cents?
Well, back in the day, when people heard the term UFOs, and they heard people started saying they were seeing UFOs and they were experiencing UFOs and getting beamed up into outer space and whatnot. Everyone thought they were crazy. They thought they were full of malarkey. They just thought they were off their mental rocker, so to speak. But as the time started progressing, and even now, even the United States government itself is coming out and admitting to seeing UFOs, admitting that they're real, and admitting that UFOs exist and the existence of alien presence. I mean, you can technically say that that President was it Truman? Yeah, President Truman, his daughter, had spoke out on the whole UFO thing. So, with all that being said, I said all that to say this: that I think that we're becoming more accepting of UFOs and aliens and beings from other dimensions. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think that in time, people will become more accepting of us believing in the Mandela effect. And even people that have never believed in the Mandela effect before are going to start coming forward with their Mandela effect experience. It's only a matter of time. Just like I said about the UFOs, that all started out back in the 50s and stuff. And well, way before that, but I mean, it became more well known back in the 50s, with the whole Roswell thing and everything. But what I'm trying to say is the Mandela effect, I think, is still kind of in its infancy as far as everybody knowing about it and everybody agreeing that it is a thing, that it is real. And I think that there'll be less and less people thinking that we're crazy and thinking that we need mental help, so to speak.
All right. Well, I don't know about all that. I think I'm always going to think you need a psychiatrist there, Hebrew, but as well as myself. But with all that being said, I get what you're saying. I mean, it's not as taboo as it once was, the whole UFO thing. And over time, the Mandela effect will probably go through those same, slowly becoming more mainstream, more accepted, in water cooler conversations at the office and things of that nature. But it is something to be said for being, part of the original founders, the pioneers per se. I mean, like the people that have been here for a long time: Brian Stavely, Susso, Scared Performance, Moneybags, Photo Helix. Even though I know you don't have a channel anymore, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's a list of people who've been here since the beginning, and some have came and went, and some are still here. But Teresa and Sandy, I mean, and it's just so it's great to be part of something in its pioneering stage. Kind of like using a metaphor, an analogy. The people that first went out west for the Lewis and Clark expeditions and whatnot. Somebody's always got to be the first ones there, and slowly over time, everybody else is going to show up and get on board. So, yeah, I agree with you with what you're saying there. But be careful what you wish for, because sometimes what happens as soon as they figure out a way to make money off of it, they destroy it. I mean, what could really happen is, you know, it, like for instance, let me give you an example. Like you'll see that a lot with genres of music. Like I remember as a young kid listening to hip hop music and trying to find certain channels that would play rap songs and things like that, and wishing that there was like a rap channel and everybody, you know, that I could find like rap 24/7 on the radio and blah 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 blah. And then guess what happened? It slowly over time became that. But then rap became something totally different. And what it is today, I have no interest in listening to it. So once it becomes commercialized, it's no longer interesting, in my opinion. So it's one of those things where you got to be careful what you wish for, my friend.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. It's just like anything else. Just like remember back when MTV was first going on, everybody thought that that was exciting and new, and everybody was all for it, you know. And then all of a sudden, very slowly, music videos stopped playing, and it slowly turned into reality TV. In fact, I would even go as far as to say that MTV were the first founders of reality TV, so to speak.
Oh
And
yeah, I could definitely see where you're going with that, and yeah, I mean now on MTV you're hard pressed to find a music video. I think they like play them like 2 or 3 hours a week. Not that I have cable or watch MTV, but I would imagine that's probably the case.
oh yeah, for sure, you know, and you know a lot of things happen that way, you know. Uh, just like you said about the Mandela effect. You said it earlier on. You said once you heard it and you've been a part of it and you've experienced a lot of them, you start to become sort of, I don't want to say numb because there's still things that could shock you, but at the same time, you're sort of used to the whole thing. You know, you're desensitized, so to speak.
Yeah, it's hard to get excited. It's hard to get excited about a new Mandela effect the way I used, you know, compared to when I was first exposed to it and taking it all in. But I'm one of those kind of personalities, which I think is kind of commonplace on YouTube. Anyways, something new comes along that you find intriguing. You got to soak it all up. I gotta know everything about it. I want to watch every video. You know,
Right.
I'm watching YouTube videos for hours on Mandela effects. I'm going back and watching scare performance videos from 2 years ago because I want to understand how, you know, more about it. But then you get to a point where you can literally burn yourself out, and I felt like I had gotten to that point where there was nothing new under the sun, so to speak. So, but at the same time, I still want to stay in tune with the community. I still want to be up to speed on what's going on. So I still check out select channels on occasion because I still have enough interest that I want to know what's going on. You know.
Oh, absolutely, man. And you can gain material from it as well. I mean, you could see that there are new Mandela effects coming in, but they come in waves, like short waves now, more than they, you know, in the beginning they came in long, fast waves of it was just everything was Mandela affected. And in a way it still is. I mean, you look at a person like C3PO who has been Mandela affected to death. I mean, there's even brand new Mandela effects on him that I didn't even realize, and they do keep popping up.
And the other thing worth mentioning is the community itself. I mean, you get to know these people. You start to relate. You get. It's just nice to go into a chat room where you know who's going to be there, like our chat room right now, and everybody kind of gets to know each other and it becomes familiar with each other, and there's a certain sense of belongingness that occurs over time that you can't artificially produce it. It has to organically occur on its own, you know?
Oh, I can practically hear you downstairs. Oh my God, you're so loud.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's because I turned up the speakers.
Okay. Well,
How did that work out? Did you guys watch it?
oh yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you I had the time of my life and I owe it all to you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I just felt like I was more of the same. I think the best talk was unbiased and on the fence. He talked about Mandela effect. And so did Moneybags.
Yeah, you actually did. You put together a really nice video. I like the way that you did the editing, the overall message, everything about it. It really resonated with me. It's really well made.
Are you talking
Hats
about?
off.
Are you talking about the one you just watched?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Actually, I didn't edit that. That was Kimberly Lynn Hansen's presentation. She asked me to be in it, and I just sat there for like, I don't know, it might have been 2 or 3 nights, just having her direct me and moving the bookcase here and there and moving the chair and tilt your hat. And I'm exaggerating a little, but that's that's how it seemed.
Well, you definitely did cool, and your cat was a good part of it too. At the end there, when he's climbing over your shoulder, that was well placed.
Oh yeah, Kim did a great job editing that. I just would have integrated more Mandela effect. I think I did, but not as much as I would have liked to, considering. But the other thing, what? Can you hear him?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he sounds like Saggy.
I don't know what you want. Oh, he wants to talk to me.
Let's see if he'll meow to us. Meow.
Meow.
You think they're making fun of you, Prince? That's how I would take that. I'd be insulted.
I can't even do it. My voice won't let me.
No, because you're a tiger. You got a big meow, like meow.
Well, I could go roar real good though.
Oh yeah, well, hey, that was pretty good, man. Have you ever thought about a voice in a job in voice acting?
Yeah, and then I came to my senses.
Oh, okay. Well, some people do, some people don't. No, but hey, guys, I got to say something. It's been a really good night here tonight on Taco Tuesday, and Suso, I really want to mention this before we get off here, that I really appreciate you coming on. Man, I know we kind of talked about it last night, sort of at the last minute, and you agreed to it, and thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Not a problem.
Yeah, I want to second that emotion. It really turned out real well. It's you have so much to offer, and it turned out to be a really great show. Just the fact that you were here. So I know you were exhausted from your bike ride yesterday, but
I just done unload box truck, 7 boxes of meat, cases, I guess, of meat, 15 cases of beer, all kinds of paper products. Oh my God. But that's what woke me up. That's what got me going. All right, let's do this.
All right. But seriously, it's been a real pleasure having you on. I feel honored just the fact that you were willing to come on our show, my man.
Oh, it was awesome. I'm sorry I'm just catching the end. But let's leave it at that. I think it was good.
Well, all right then. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I'm looking forward to getting back to doing some videos. Just back to my old stuff, topics, some fun stuff. I got these videos I can't wait to get out from the bike trip. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, I'll look forward to seeing that once that comes out, man. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of burned out from editing and doing videos and all since that.
You're out of YouTube jail now. You can live stream again, right?
Yeah.
So we'll start seeing more live streams from you, I guess, in the near future. If you want to invite Saji, if you want to invite either me or Hebrew on and any of your live streams, we'll be welcome to come over there and join you, just so you know.
Does that count as talking to yourself in the third person?
I was just getting ready to say that.
Does that count?
Well, that wasn't on purpose. When it's on purpose, it counts.
Okay.
I see. All right. No, this was fun. I like this. And it was funny. While I was down there unpacking the truck, I kept thinking, of all these Mandela effects. We were talking about a bunch of them and what they meant here and there. And I'm like, oh, we didn't mention the flag, and oh, we didn't mention this one and that one. And because I'm looking at the flag across the street and I'm picking up product, and I was like, oh,
Is that a Mandela effect for you, Suso? The red line under the blue stars?
it absolutely is 100%. That's a 100%er for me.
Yeah,
You know,
I have to say, I kind of have a duel on that. I didn't think of it till I saw it. When I saw residue, then that's what looked right.
yes, it looks so much. Excuse me, it looks so much better with the red underneath. And I was talking to a guy who was in the service, and I was talking about Mandela because I had the shirt on, and he asked me what it was. And I asked him. I asked him a few questions. I usually go for JFK and Statue of Liberty and Stouffer's, and maybe the Monopoly Man. Try and get some easy ones that I know they're probably going to just catch on. I don't want to sit there all day trying to Mandela effect you. Right. But I gave him the flag, and I said, "What colors?" And he said, "Oh, red." And this guy's in the service, and then he doesn't just say red; he says red, and I can explain to you why. So I was like, "Wow, I want to hear this." And he said that the bottom red stripe underneath the blue star field and the bottom right stripe under the flag both represent the fallen. And the blood running down, kind of running down the flag. That's how he put it. Those stripes right under the blue, and that's the one that started. And that's how he explained it. And I just stood there like, wow, yeah, you would definitely have a memory of this. And it was him and his wife. And I walked him out front and showed him the flag, and he was just like, and you know what he said? He said, "I never seen that before." That's what he said. I'd never seen that before. And I said, well, that's what you get for asking me what the Mandela effect is. And then, and I had here, they bought my book. After that, how could you not buy a book after that?
Yeah, that's a good way. I mean, that makes sense that it would represent that way. That's kind of what.
Well, it didn't make sense to me the way he explained it, but he was very convinced that that's why the stripes are where they are.
Right. I mean, that's a good. That I can see how that someone would come up with. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's. I guess I think I popped it in a video, but when I do my videos my way, it's like 2 seconds of one thing, 5 seconds of the next, and just pop all over the place, sort of like that last video, except it wasn't so on point. Saji, take a look at that. I'm curious. I want to know. I want to know that I was fair, but I want to know that I was fair from somebody that doesn't agree with me. Does that make sense?
Like an unbiased third party is what you're getting at.
No, not even unbiased. I want them to disagree with me, but still tell me I was fair. Is that asking too much?
Yeah. Okay. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Now that I said it out loud like that, I guess. I'll never be able to do a video again if I keep waiting for that.
Well, I just want you to know, I think it would be cool if you had Hebrew and Saji. See, I could do it too. I could talk about myself as a third person.
See, I don't Susso. If it was a name, a different name, then Susso is my nickname.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, it's and it's funny because I did this in a video a couple of years ago. My nickname is Seuss. It's not even Susso. Susso is part of my last name, and I went with the Susso thing, and I ran into a friend of mine. We were talking about Mandela effects, and he told me, he goes, "Your channel name is what?" And I said, "Susso." And he goes, "But your nickname is Seuss." And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I never, everybody called me Seuss. And I guess every once in a while I'm like, "Yo, Susso," maybe, but I don't know. And he kept saying, "It's one of those Mandela effects." I'm like, I said, well, when I get the SUUSO, that'll be a Mandela effect.
There you go.
Well, now you got me at wanting to ask you one more question about Moneybag's name. Do you remember the 76? Are you one of those that can remember that?
Okay, now this is weird that you ask this because I used to know the answer to that. I do know that I remember it changing but now I don't remember. I don't know what it is now. Let me put it that way. In the video, I call him Moneybag 73.
Yeah, it's 73 now.
Okay, because in the video when I say that and I'm listening to it, I'm going, wow, is it 73 or 76? You know, and I don't know why I'm having, issues with that because I thought if it's 73 now, then I thought it was 76 and now it's 73.
Let me hit you with this one. Let me hit you with this real quick.
Okay, but no more, man. I'm kidding. You guys can ask as many questions.
I'll take it a step further. Do you ever remember there being a Mr. on his name? Mr. Moneybag 76.
Oh.
Bam.
I'm going to say no, but but you're making me think of possible other channels. So, but I'm going to say no. No,
Okay.
and for me, and I got news for you, dude. It was Moneybags 76. Moneybags had 2 G's for me. Guaranteed 100%. I have a trigger. My first band was called Jet Lag. It was my idea to put 2 G's on the end. When I saw Moneybags with 2 G's, I was like, oh, wow, cool. Just like my first band with the 2 G's. I wonder why he's doing it. I just did it to be, creative or whatever. And when I saw it on his thing, I was like, wow, that was a trigger point for me. And, he said to me quite a few times, man, it never had 2 G's. And I'm like, I get it. I know what you're saying. But I'm telling you, it was 2 G's and the number changed. And I can't even swear from what to what anymore.
Everyone says they don't remember me having the number on my name, but I've always called out my name as Hebrew 77, even when I've changed it from time to time.
Oh, no, I have no idea. I know. I haven't looked at your name that much to notice a change, or I would have just assumed you changed the name. I mean, most people, I would just assume they changed the name. It was funny with the A Dose of Reality versus The Dose of Reality, and apparently he's never gone by either. He's just Dose of Reality. But it changed for me from A Dose of Reality to The Dose of Reality while I was watching the show.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, I did a lot. I was screaming in chat going, it was a dose of reality. I always thought it should be the dose of reality.
Right, or a dose.
But it was a dose of reality, and it just always looked weird to me. And it was one of those staring things. I wasn't staring at this one, but it's one of those things that hit me in my head. I think about it. And then boom, a little bit later, something happens. I mean, this was big because I'm in chat live and I'm looking at A Dose of Reality. I scrolled down, I scrolled back up and it said The Dose of Reality.
Whoa.
And I'm thinking, whoa, I get in chat and I'm freaking out. I'm thinking there's no way he just changed the name of his program in the middle of his show from A Dose to The Dose. What unless you're trying to freak people out and seeing who catches it. I can't imagine why anybody would do that anyway. But I don't even know if you can do that. But that was the weirdest thing is everybody was coming out. Half of them in chat said A Dose of Reality. The other half said The Dose of Reality. And apparently it's neither. It's neither now. I can't say what he had before. I don't even remember. That's one shifty guy, that Stavely fella, anyway.
Ain't that the truth? He's a great person to channel to discover when you're new to the Mandela Effect because he does such a great job of presenting the classics because he's just got it so down pat in his presentation and how he puts it out there. It's so easy to digest and it's so well done that
I'll tell you what
he
you
could
want to do.
he could do. He should be at the next Mandela Effect conference, hands down, in my book.
I think he should have been at this one. I think I could name 5 people that I think should have been on the show.
Oh yeah, me too, easily, including yourself.
They asked me, I declined. Listen,
Oh, okay.
that's why you got to watch that. You got to watch that. My experience. It says my experience on the IMEC.
I
Watch.
will definitely be checking it out.
Yeah. I forget what I was going to say. Oh well.
You said that you could name 5 that should have been there.
Oh yeah, but I do want to call out Chick. I think she would have been great. I think
Oh yeah, I totally agree, and even SMQ for that matter.
SMQ would have been sure better than any of the new age speakers. And I know it's a shame I say that. I enjoyed them all. I enjoyed every talk. Lauren's talk set me off to, I guess, just look.
Yeah, and I asked you earlier to say something positive about it, and the one positive takeaway that I really have to say is that it was well done. Like it was very professional. The fact that they broadcasted it live free of charge, and that it was well put together. It was well organized.
Jerry did a great
and I
job.
felt like I was at a real conference or experiencing a real conference, even though I could only watch it virtually, over the internet. It seemed very professionally done. That's my positive that I have to put out there about it.
Yeah, it was very well done. I don't know what is he going off on. You're not muted. Hebrew 77. You guys keep changing your names, and you think I don't know? First, you went from small to large cats, and I thought, how do I get large cat? And I was going to do it, and it looks like, I can edit my name.
Yeah. I can edit your name if I wanted to.
You could
Yeah,
edit.
he could change it to Goofball or something silly like that.
I was wondering when you were going to notice.
Oh, I saw him do it. I guess the goofball was what got me, but he went from small letters to big letters. I saw that.
Well,
there you go.
At least he chose to pick on me instead of you.
Oh, he was doing it.
I just realized you can change the people's names. That's interesting.
Huh.
All right, well.
So you like this Hebrew, you were telling me earlier, you like this background, huh?
Oh, yeah. It kind of reminds me of Data's, I don't know if you call it a flat or an apartment or whatever, from the very last Star Trek Next Generation episode, All Good Things. Yeah. Ah, man. Catherine Snows.
Don't do this. I have enough distractions in my life.
Oh, hey, well.
Go back to watching Star Trek again.
Hey, we all need a little distraction in our life, right?
I'm not going to lie. I am in season 10, I think it is, of Stargate. SG-1.
I didn't realize there were 10 seasons. Is that how many seasons are there?
I want to say 11, and then 2 movies after that.
That was one of my mom's favorite shows. I used to watch it with her every time I would visit her. I remember several Christmases in a row, I would get her a box set of the entire season.
Oh, I got one for you guys. Oh, boy. Oh, shit. Upload. It's on Amazon Prime.
All right, I'll check it out. I have Amazon Prime. That's the only subscription thing that I have because it comes free with my Metro PCS account.
What is your thoughts on the computer program theory?
I mean, there's some substance to it. I can see how somebody could come up with the notion, but I feel like that here when I gave it a lot of thought. Here's what here's my best analogy. If you consider, like, have you ever wore the virtual reality glasses?
Never put
Like,
them
even
on.
for a minute, like to experience virtual reality. Well, if you're ever in like a tech store, like a Best Buy or something, and they have a display, check it out. Put them on, and then hear what I'm about to say. And hopefully you'll remember this. But our senses, our eyes, our nose, our ears, they're literally they're sensors. They have a range of information that they can perceive. You, like, if you compare like our hearing to another species like a dog or a bird or a cat, they can hear things that we can't hear. So there's more to be heard than what we hear. Certain animals can see in the dark. They can see. There's a certain range of colors that if you think of the rainbow, okay, that we can see. But that's what our eyes are capable of. The information our eyes are capable of receiving and deciphering and processing. There could be more light spectrums, higher and lower, beyond our range of visibility. There could be senses, all of our senses. There could be a range that we're limited to, that we're able to experience. But there could be more. There could be more to it than what. Just because that's all we can see, that's all we can hear, that's all we can feel, that's all we can sense. There's still, I mean, like you were talking earlier about out of body experiences and lucid dreams. There's levels of consciousness where I think you could actually perceive more. So in that sense, in that argument, I could say, hey, you know what? This could be some type of a reality where we are only limited to a certain amount of it, even though more may exist. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but that's where my train of thought goes when I start thinking on that level.
This is awesome. But many will be confused.
So do you guys get what I'm trying to say?
Sorry, Sandy.
Strategy, dude. I was in there for a little bit there, and I got distracted. I
wonder why.
Right.
I got distracted. I booted. That's the only word.
Well, yeah, that's my take on it, though. For whatever that's worth.
Damn, was it good? Because I want to get into
I'm
it.
sorry.
That's your
my fault.
He's got David Dan up there.
I'm sorry, Saji. That was my fault, brother. I distracted.
I'm over it. I didn't realize you were even doing it, because when I'm talking like that, I'm not looking at the phone.
Yeah, you're into some deep thought, brother.
Well, I didn't realize we were.
I asked him a question. That's what it was. Oh, about the yeah. Okay, now so I can follow you now. Because this upload show, what's that show? Was it called Electric Dreams or something? See, I couldn't get into that.
Did you ever check out Westworld?
Yeah, but this is interesting because it's in the future, and instead of dying when you die, if you believe in a soul and going to heaven and all that.
Oh, you know what? I have seen that show, and it is pretty good. I know what you're talking about now. I had forgotten that's what it's called. It is, it's kind of weird. Especially the way it happens to that guy. And then the other thing I thought was crazy was how you had to have credits to experience things. So they even get you in the afterlife,
And I thought Upload was good. I finally watched the last one. Look, I loved that part. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but remember, like right before he was uploaded.
Yeah, when his wife or his fiance is convincing him to do it. Yeah,
he took his head off.
Yeah.
And the other part, I mean, so much of that I was just cracking up at. I don't think there was a lot of slow you know, let's get the love scene in here parts. I don't remember. Might have been.
No, it was basically just him. It was more about him forming that relationship with his handler or whatever.
Oh, and you know what?
Slowly over the course of time. Yeah.
There are scenes in it. I guess they have to do it. I don't know. More people will watch, but it's so funny because it's very everything's very cleverly placed. You don't actually see anything except the guy's butt when they take
Well,
his.
yeah. Yeah, it's very tastefully done. It's definitely a show worth watching.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, I just thought I just thought the concept was interesting and how they download their consciousness into a system and live life.
Yeah, it's pretty much a hard drive that he saved on a hard drive.
You still communicate with these people, but is
Yeah.
it really them? I mean, that's that. Now you get into the moral question: is it really them? You know, it's just a computer program.
Kind
I
of-
mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I think that this may be this is a reality for us to experience on this, but I think that our spirit and our soul is just here visiting. I don't think this is our
That's
our one opportunity, and then we die and then it's over. I refuse to believe that, but that's just my personal beliefs.
Yeah, I'm trying not to believe that we're just animals.
yeah.
I mean, you know, I think about it. We are. We just think a little bit differently than them. We have contact.
No, we're a spirit. We're a soul. We're just in a meat suit, you know, and we don't get to choose our meat suit. We don't get to choose if we're what we look like, what our skin color is, if we're tall, if we're short, if we're bald, if we're or whatever. You know, we just come out however we come out.
You know, I knew
That's a good point.
the short and bold shit was going to come out. Who won the picture drawing thing? Because I never sent mine in.
Oh,
Oh, you guys didn't do that.
No, we did. We had a winner. It was. I'm trying to remember who was the winner.
well, he's been on here. You know, good old Lotar 900. That's it.
Yeah, Lothar.
Oh, so you got the close. So what was it? Do I get to see it? Do I get to see what?
Oh no, he was the only one who submitted an entry,
Yeah,
so he
he
won
was.
by default. He didn't come up with anything that even remotely looked close to me.
I figure long hair, long beard, maybe bald, glasses.
Well, that was. I
Yeah.
tell you what, I will. We showed pictures of me, but I don't have them handy right now, or else I would share it with you. Do you still have them there, Hebrew?
I done pitched him a long time ago.
All right. Well, I'll have to share them with you later.
Yeah.
That's all right. You can always be a mystery. Someday you could walk into the bar, order a beer, and I totally won't have any idea who you are.
There you
Until
go.
I ask if you could cover it because I'm Sagy.
Right.
I've had people come up to the bar talking with me and not tell me who they are until later.
Yeah. I imagine that happens quite a bit.
I've had a woman come in. I was kind of weird, you know. She was kind of looking at me from the corner, and I'm like, "Is she checking me out? Because I'll go chat with her." You know, it's a couple years ago, and I was too busy, you know. And then finally, she comes up to me and she hands me a quartz, and she says, "I got this out of the Arkansas River. I watch your channel," and I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" It's like these are one of these people that are in the background that never chat and don't talk, you never get to see, and I'm like, oh my god, that way. And she was with family and stuff, and they all were leaving when that happened. I was like, that was wild. It was New Year's Eve one year. I'm behind the bar, and 3 20-something-year-old kids from Kansas City were driving through Colorado, and they said, we had to stop here, we wanted to tell you we watch your channel. I'm just like, what? Yeah, we just had to we have to stop in and have a beer with you. And I hate it when that stuff was going on. I was so busy that I just couldn't sit and chat with them. You know, you see me on film and you know, doing interviews and talking with people and stuff. I got a minute here and there. to do that, or I used to. And now, you know, these times when this stuff was happening, it was just too busy to talk with these people. And I'm like, God, I really want to. I had a woman, we were closed. We started closing Mondays and Tuesdays. It was before the current event stuff. So we were just closed on that Tuesday, and she was just driving by. I'm guessing 3 or 4 hours. She was just happened to be in that area, driving through, decided to go that way to stop at the bar, and it was closed. And I felt bad. I was outside washing the windows, and the place was closed. I'm up on a ladder, and you know, and she's like, "Hey, hi, you know, my name's such and such." I don't want to say it. I don't want to. She probably wouldn't care, but whatever. I'm so and so. You know, I listen to your channel. I'm like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Aren't you down a little south from here or something? And, you know, that was interesting. I've had Robert. Oh, come on. P. Robert P. His last name begins with a P. Wow, stop it. He came in and visited at least once, possibly a couple of times. Oh, of course, Tonette. Tonette's come up here a couple of times. Hung out, had a couple of drinks. She was camping somewhere in the area. And there's one I'm missing. I know who it is. I can't think of the name. But I mean, yeah, and it happens. And most of the time, I know they might say something. But you know, it's interesting when they don't. I don't care if I'm behind the bar and I'm working. I feel like I have to entertain you like I have to entertain anybody else. I have to entertain. Oh, the girl from West Colorado. I'm not gonna. Oh, Rain, something Rain or Rain. Do you know who I mean? Rain. Everybody calls her Rain, but not the
Rain on the plains.
Rain on the plains. That woman came to the bar, sat there just giggling and smiling at me, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Somebody's on mushrooms. Hello. There's a chick's on mushrooms. I got to deal with this shit. Can I get you something to drink? Yeah, a glass of red wine. I think it was. I got a wine or whatever it was, and she's just, hey, what's that shirt over there? Because there were shirts hanging up say Mandela Effect. She's going, what's that Mandela Effect thing? I have no idea who this woman is. And she didn't keep it going long. She could have had it going longer because I was like, man, the last thing I want to do is explain the Mandela Effect that some chick on mushrooms, because she just kept laughing and giggling because she knew the joke. Of course, I didn't. That's why. And then finally, she told me, she says, "I'm right on the plains. I'm a real person." I'm like, okay, cool. That was neat.
And that's the kind of thing we need, man. Is forget about Mandela Conference. We need the Mandela Gathering where we all go up and meet someplace, you know, and get to actually see each other in real life and realize that we're all real people, you know.
Yeah, that was one of the things I really enjoyed about Ketchum. I remember having dinner with, I mean, check this shit out, man. You tell me this is what's fucking awesome. Scarab Performance, Cynthia Sue Larson, me, and I can't remember the rest. And there was 3 more people. Oh, and Richard. Damn, you know, and it's just we're all sitting there having dinner for the first time. Shit like that was amazing. That was the energy was explosive. We would laugh and just like we all knew each other, and that was the first night. And then the next day, I don't even know what days were what. I went out and had breakfast with a couple other people. I had breakfast and dinner and lunch with people by themselves. We went to the hot springs in a group. I call it the hot springs. It was nothing like I'm used to. This thing was a little pool, tiny little pool, tiny hole in the ground. I'm not even kidding. It was a hole in the ground with hot water in it, and it wasn't even that hot. But I said, well, I'm getting in. I got it. I think everybody got in.
Oh, wow.
JW was there. I mean, Cat. Oh, geez, and just talking, and we're all just talking about things and Mandela stuff, and not having to worry that somebody's going to go, "Oh no, it wasn't like that," with that attitude. You know, it was like,
Right.
"Oh, I don't remember it like that. I remember it yellow, not blue. Cool, you remember it red. Oh, that's really neat." You know, it's like, and we're not like looking at each other funny. Oh, what else? Oh, we all went out and looked at the stars one night. Just sat, and it was so cold. We were all huddled in a big circle, looking up, just waiting for something to happen. And some people saw some things, some didn't. It was kind of, I guess, personal for everybody there. Oh, excuse me. Just going out and having a cigarette with 3 or 4 people in between talks and stuff.
I can't imagine how it would have been kind of surreal. I mean, because a lot of these people there's so many people that you're familiar with, but you never met in person. I can
Dude,
see how that would have been a really unique experience.
my roommates were Guy Fawkes and Scarab Performance.
Oh wow.
I mean, come on. And Sunday,
I'm thinking of like planes, trains, and automobiles when you say that.
Right. Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I would do it in a heartbeat again. Just for that experience.
Sounds awesome.
The talks themselves, and it was okay. I mean, like I said in the video, they were okay. They were good. The talks. I'm talking about the ones in Ketchum. You know, that they were. I enjoyed them.
Now imagine if the whole thing was like that, you know? If the whole thing could be like,
I think that's what would have happened if Connecticut was, if it actually happened in Connecticut.
absolutely, man.
Oh, I'm teasing Chris. Sorry, bud.
He said, "Stop hating the mushrooms, man."
I'm not hating the mushroom. It won't seem to affect me. I'm not going to bother. Why do I need to take any kind of psychedelics with the shit that's happened to me without them?
Right.
I mean, please. People are like, "Oh, could you imagine what happens with them?" I said, I would try DMT again. I mean, especially now that I know I can speak with my higher self when you do that. I didn't know that the first time. Wow, everybody got quiet.
Sorry.
Looking up DMT?
Alex Jones does the DMT.
Oh, does he? Oh, God.
No, I'm just trying to be funny. It's a shtick that they do on this show called Beyond the Veil. But anyway, it's Chris and Sherry Geo. They talk about doing DMT all the time.
Oh, unbelievable experience. I documented my experience with that. You want to hear it? I don't even know.
Sure, why not?
Well, you're trying to get off, and honestly, I don't even know if I'd be able to find it. Let's see. Artist, written, artist, spiritual, personal notes, no, random books, no. There we are. Oh my God, I found it. Wow, this could be really interesting. I know this was going to be a 2.5-hour show, and you're trying to get off, aren't you?
Well, I mean, you know, if you got interesting stuff to talk about, we could stay on here longer.
I got interested. I could just read you a few poems here. You'd probably be like, "Wow, that's, you know." I'm shocked when I read this shit. I'm like, "Oh my God, I wrote that. Oh my God."
As long as it's not poems about, you know, people killing themselves, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, one's called "God Over Time." I'm looking at this stuff.
That's an inside joke, man.
I got something here written, "God Over Time," and it was written in 2013. I can't, and now I'm looking at this stuff going, wow, I want to check this stuff out. 2008. What's this? It just says Galactic. The Breath, 2017. The Names of Gods, 2008. Oh, I can't wait to look at that. Anyway, my DMT experiences. First DMT. Oh, wow. I didn't realize I was in Colorado in 2003. Yeah, I guess I would have had to. My first DMT experience, May 28th, 2013, evening, 5 people, including myself, no preparation. Sitting upright, I took one hit, but did not hold the smoke in my lungs long enough to get the full effect. The room warped. The walls moved like waves for approximately 15 minutes. Here it comes. Second DMT experience. June 10th. So it's a little more than a week, almost 2 weeks later. June 10th, afternoon, alone, preparation, meditation, and steam bath. Boy, I didn't play around. Standing, I took one large hit and when the room started to warp, I exhaled to take another hit unsuccessfully because I had to lie down. Looking up, the ceiling whirled into a lotus-looking flower and continued to swirl. I immediately felt an Eastern deity present, possibly Kaila, Nefertiti, or Buddha. This lasted about 1 or 2 minutes. Then directly in front of me, with my eyes wide open, physical reality split or tore right down the middle. It opened to what I don't know, but I left my body and took off through this hole or tear in physical reality. The sounds warped and became inaudible. I closed my eyes and found myself traveling forward in a clouded area with all types of religious artifacts passing by me and through me. Some I recognized, but most I did not. Then I became aware of an orange and yellow chessboard-looking track in the upper left corner of my vision. This track moved very fast as it was like I was traveling to somewhere. I thought, "What's going on?" And a deep voice came from the upper right and said, "It's the DMT." I remember that part. I remember like it was yesterday. "It's the DMT." I felt apprehensive and wanted the experience to end. I immediately felt my spiritual guide surrounding me and watching me, as well as a feminine energy cuddling me and telling me it was okay to let go and experience what was happening. I did not let go all the way, but continued on this track and came to a white area where I went somewhere and cannot recall, but I was definitely somewhere doing something, not knowing anything about who I am or myself. Wow, I want to read that and comprehend that. As I came out of that, I realized who I was again. My guides told me to stop thinking and analyzing everything as I was trying to retain everything I was experiencing. Well, that's totally me. A sound from a low pitch to a high pitch came in from the right. A series of electrical shocks or pitches started hitting my body. Feeling this, I stated that this was not supposed to hurt, and the electrical pinches dissipated. After this, I seemed to loop back to the white area, remembering again who I was. The sound appeared again as it did the electrical pinches. I seemed to loop through this maybe 5 times, yet I only remember the experience happening once or many times at the same time. I started coming back and thought I wouldn't be doing this again, as if I felt somewhat nauseous. I opened my eyes and knew I was not in my body. The room looked elongated. Although there was no one else in the room, I felt other entities, possibly my guides, in the room surrounding me. Coming back closer to physical reality, I thought that I would definitely try this again. I looked at my body and it looked like it was just hanging there, like I was carrying this lump of meat with me. I knew my body was not me. As I shot back into physical reality, I fleetingly realized my beliefs on how and why physical reality was created was accurate, as I felt the return itself affirmed this. I became coherent and stood still, not total in my body. I thought the physical body hurt, or more accurately, was cumbersome to me to be in. I guess that's what I was trying to say. The entire experience lasted 15 to 20 minutes with only a minimal after effect hours later. During the next 3 days, I experienced fleeting moments of euphoria, a knowing, and a confidence that I had not known before. I believe the electrical pinches transformed me in some way, and I was supposed to go through them rather than stop them. Yet this also showed me that I was in control. Oh, wow. Anybody there? my third DMT experience, June 25th, 2013. This is another week and a half later. Midnight, myself and one other person, no preparation. Sitting on a couch, I took a small hit and the room warped. A few minutes later, I took another large hit and then sat back for a minute or two, then lied down. The ceiling warped. I felt I was in another realm and waited with apprehension for physical reality to tear or dissipate. The room warped and I braced myself. Nothing happened. I held the hit long enough, yet I still held an unnerving feeling with anticipation. Still nothing happened. Just as I thought I was going to blast off, I was pulled back. A voice came into my head and stated, "It is not time yet." So I sat up and watched the room warp for 15 minutes while listening to Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix.
Oh wow, that's great that you wrote that down, or else you probably wouldn't have such a fond recollection.
Yeah, especially the big one, the one that I actually took off. This one's unnerving because I was going to take off and I didn't. Fourth and so far final DMT experience. September 3rd, 2013, afternoon, myself and one other person, no preparation. Standing with a friend, he took his large hit first and walked outside on his patio, sat down on the lawn chair and exhaled. Now understand that this guy really wanted to try it after I told him about my experience. And I'm like, okay, man, but it's got to be okay with your wife, because I knew these two, hung out with them, and I'm like, and we spoke, and she's like, yeah, fine, it'll be cool, whatever. Well, I go over that day and we're doing this, and she has no idea. He didn't tell her. So I'm the one that's getting shit. But listen to this. Standing with a friend, he takes his large hit, he goes on the patio, sits down in the lawn chair and exhaled. I told him he wouldn't remember exhaling, and he didn't. I took my hit, and his wife came down the stairs with a look of horror on her face. I see this. I remember because this was very personal, I guess. I was under the impression she was fine with this. I was also thought she was going to do it as well. Seeing this, I exhaled, hoping I wouldn't blast off. We both walked outside. I started to see geometrical shapes all over the lawn and the trees. I told his wife in 15 minutes he will be not under the influence any longer. I sat down on the lawn chair just in case I took off. I heard her scream. I look over at him and he had vomit in his mouth. I got up and tilted him over, clearing his mouth out, stayed with him until he came back. I just sat there, just pulling the crap, and he kept pushing himself back. And I kept pulling him forward and pulling the puke out. His wife wanted to call an ambulance as her husband was passed out and vomiting. And I'm going, no. Somehow I convinced her to wait out the 15 minutes. He remembered very little of the experience, as most was blacked out. Now I could fill in these blanks because I can't believe I didn't write this properly. Wow. Yeah, she took a hose and was hosing him down.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, that means you actually did a success. He did a successful journey. I mean, aren't you supposed to purge and kind of black out? Isn't that what the goal is?
I never heard that. I don't know. I couldn't speak on those terms. I could tell you that I've noticed that everybody that I speak to and they tell me about their experience, it always touches on their belief systems. He doesn't believe in any afterlife. So that's what he experienced. I don't know if that's true. He may have taken two. Maybe you got to take a certain amount. I don't know. I did it 4 times and only took off once. I think I would have taken off this time. But I remember starting to leave as I'm standing there looking at him with puke running down him, and she's screaming, grabbing a hose, ready to call the police. And I turned around at something and I screamed, "No, I am responsible for him." And I just stayed there, and I was very tingly the whole entire time. Just trying to keep him from going, and I'm promising her. She's like, "I gotta call an ambulance, Anthony. You don't understand. I have to. He's my husband. He's my husband." I'm like, "I promise you, he's fine." And me, I'm like half in and out of reality on this crap. And he started to come out of it. And oh God, she gave me such a look like, you are so lucky. She would have killed me. And he comes out of it, and he's like this. He's laying back in the chair. Can you guys see me? I don't know what I got up because I read these.
Oh yeah, I can see you.
Okay. So he's laying back in this lounge chair. He's looking up at me, and then he's looking over at his eye, and he's looking over, and he looks over his eye, and then he goes, because he can see how distraught she is. And then he looks over at me again, and then finally comes out of it, and even she's going, well, yeah, you might as well tell us about the experience. And he's like, I don't remember nothing. He goes, I remember all the blades of grass turned into geometrical shapes. And I thought, wow, that's really neat. Because I've heard other people say similar things, that they see similar things when this goes on. I was like, cool, because that's what I saw. And then he goes, and then I saw my wife, and then I saw Homer Simpson, and then I saw my wife, and then I saw Homer Simpson. He was looking at me. He said, when he was looking at me coming out of this, he said, I was full-blown Homer Simpson character. Which I thought that was funny. I guess that's how he sees me.
That's funny, though. It sounds like it was quite the experience, nevertheless.
Right.
I've never done.
Sucked because I was very excited. To do DMT, every single time I was very apprehensive. You don't want to be apprehensive going into that, but you do want somebody with you. The one time I took off, I was laying on my back by myself. I realized how wrong that is, okay? Because he just ate. That's another thing I'd say. I'd say don't eat. If you're going to do that, don't eat. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're supposed to eat. I don't know. I'm not a professional, man.
No, you're not supposed to do it on a full stomach because you don't. It's not the same experience. The whole purpose of the experience is to have that as the only substance in you at the time. Be it food, water, whatever. You want to unadulterate it as much as possible.
Yeah, I don't need to do psychedelics and stuff like that, but I think that's something that I'd try again, just with that one shot, to speak with my higher self again. I didn't realize how detailed I wrote that. I swear every time I read that, it changes. Boy, that would really be weird, huh?
Yeah, that would be weird. I've never done DMT. I've done mushrooms a handful of times throughout my life, and when I was
going to say throughout your career,
and as we call it in the field now, but and when I was a teenager, I tried acid once or twice, and I remember you talked about seeing cartoon characters. I saw the Smurfs popping in and out of bushes.
Cool.
Like their heads would pop out of little bushes. We were driving while we were doing it. Yeah. And then we went to Kroger supermarket, and we were in the Brock's candy, and everything in the supermarket was so bright and so colorful. And the Brock's candy, I remember holding it in my hand and looking at it and just thinking it looked so colorful and just so neat. It was so abstract. It's hard to explain. But anyway, we woke up the next morning around noon in an apartment complex parking lot, and we didn't even remember how we got there.
Well, I say mushrooms don't affect me, but the first time I did them, I think I was 19 maybe, in Brigantine, New Jersey, right outside of Atlantic City. And it was me, my brother, and two roommates. And I was the only one with a car. And I just got home from work, and I just wanted to smoke a joint and go to bed. And they're like, come on. Here, we made you a sandwich. And I'm like, oh, come on. And I'm like, yeah. So I eat this thing. And I knew they were giving me something. I didn't give a shit. I didn't, my brother, my friends, whatever. And I just, I didn't think they were going to give me anything that I couldn't drive on because they wanted to go to Atlantic City. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I'm like, oh, this tastes like shit. and they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, oh, mushrooms. This is first for me, whatever. Um, I remember them being able to talk me to drive. I remember in Brigantine, New Jersey, we drove by the police department, and for some reason, all I could do was make right-hand turns. I couldn't do anything else. So I just kept going around the police department, and they were freaking the fuck out like there was no tomorrow. You got to stop. We're going to get busted. I'm like, but I can only make rights. And that's all I would do. I did that for a good, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you. Time was weird. Maybe 50.
Yeah, time goes at a different rate. It's actually going faster, but it feels like it's going slower.
But then I got, and finally they convinced me to get away from the police department. They're going, we don't care if you have a bad trip. We don't care what you do. Just you can't do it near the police department. And I'm like, why did you guys give me this shit and then tell me to drive? So now I start driving right towards the ocean. And I can't make any turns. I can only go straight. and the houses
You're like a malfunctioned GPS unit, huh?
Right, the houses are right up against the car on the left side, and the parked cars are right up against my car on this side. So now I'm doing like 2 miles an hour, and I'm so afraid I'm going to scrape the houses and shit, and I'm going, but I still keep going for the ocean, and I somehow we pulled out of there and going to Atlantic City, and I'm like, I can't believe I won't drink and drive. I back then wouldn't happen. These people, my friends and my brother and whatever, they'd be getting in the car with beers, and I'm like, man, get that shit out of the car. I won't drive with it. Get out, get out, get out. That's just how I was back then. And everybody's like, come on, everybody does it. But to do that, no. So we get into Atlantic City, and I remember letting them all out on Florida Avenue into this bar. And I must have been older than 19 if we were going to bars. Probably 21, 22, I guess. So they go into the Florida pub. Wow, I guess that's easy enough. It was Florida Ave. But that was like, the next thing I remember is hanging out on the boardwalk in front of the Tropicana Casino, watching the sun come up. And we're all like, okay, they're like, okay, go get the car. And I'm like, I have no idea where the car is. Oh shit, it's in the middle of Florida Avenue, because that's the last thing I remembered. I mean, what was the point of doing that if I'm not going to remember anything?
Right.
My car was parked where I park when I go to work, which is 4 casinos down, 10 blocks down, right where I always park it when I go to work. But I even said, I'm like, well, where are we going? So we checked a bunch of places, and I don't know why it didn't hit me. Somebody goes, well, why don't you check where do you park? Where do you park when you go to work? And I'm like, there's no way. Even when they said that, I should have remembered. I said, there's no way my car's there. None. And when we got there it was. There we go. So, and it's like, and I think the other time I did them, I got a little weird hearing in my ear. And then I did them at a Primus. Damn, so I did them 3 times. I don't think that's doing mushrooms. I mean, I did them 3 times I did them 3 times in 30 years. So once every 10 years I do mushrooms.
Yeah, I think maybe I've done it 5 times, if that. Yeah.
I've run into people that are like, oh yeah, shrooms. And I'm like, I don't get it. I'm sorry. Maybe it's my metabolism or something. I just don't get it. It's not my thing. And LSD and acid and stuff like that never really came my way. I was programmed away from that stuff.
Yeah, well, it was my friends in high school, and what happened was shortly after that experience, I got introduced to a guy that was mentally off, for lack of a better word. And the explanation that I was given was, this guy used to be one of the smartest guys in our school, but one time he did acid, and he's never been the same since. Ever since then, he's been kind of off.
Oh, that's
he's
really weird. There was a kid in our grade school, the same thing.
Yeah, and once I saw that, I had no interest in ever doing acid again because I thought I would hate for that to happen to me.
That's a real story, or if they just planted that. I'm just saying. Oh, why?
Yeah, I don't know. I just has always assumed that it was true, and it scared me enough that I knew I never wanted that outcome.
No, my thing was always like, well, okay, what are the odds I die at the time that I cared about that? You know, what are the odds I'm going to die? Well, there's always a chance. Then I ain't doing it. I mean, hey, what are the chances I die if I smoke this joint? Think you'll be okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's no documented deaths of OD on marijuana.
No, well, I'll tell you what. When Colorado first, well, I don't want to say when they first legalized it. I think I got here the year after they legalized it, or like that year, and I had no idea. I mean, I knew they were trying stuff and all, but I didn't know anything was going on. But like you wouldn't believe the stories were coming out. Man dies from, what did it say? The THC, and like you read the article, and it's like, yeah, he was high, and he was drinking in a casino, and he took the bars out of the window so he could sit in the window, and the fucking idiot fell back and died. I mean, and they're blaming it on weed. I was like, wow, really? Man, that's like saying, wow, that guy died in a car accident of COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, with the THC, I don't know. I think it's great the way it helps people. Because I've learned so much more about it since I got here. It's so much more than just buying a bag down the street. You know, I mean, and it does different things. I read an article where this child has epilepsy or something. They smoke weed and it's gone, gone, gone. And I'm just like, well, that's amazing. How can they keep that from other people? I don't care. So it's not legal in that state. Says who? It's saving this kid. I don't want to hear it. You know.
Yeah, it makes you go back and wonder, back in the 40s and 50s when they came up with the whole, convince everybody up is down and down is up. That's about the same time they made it illegal,
And they got this thing out here called Phoenix Tears. I don't think it's the absolute most powerful one, but the guy that put it together or whatever had cancer, and it's like toothpaste. You just take a little bit, and he would eat a little one a day, and there was some other thing he drank, and that's gone. I mean, he was at a stage where he supposedly should have died, or should have ate him alive or whatever. But no, that stuff got rid of it. And they have lighter or less potent forms of it around here. It doesn't get you high. You know,
It just kind of takes the stress out of you, stuff like that.
I tried it. I bought a little tube of it just to see what would happen, and it cleaned me out. I mean, it made me. I could feel whereas like I'll drink this here, the CBD soda. 3 of these, and I'm not high, but I'm relaxed as hell. I mean, I'm not, but it doesn't get you high.
Right.
But it relaxes you and it kills pain, I guess. I say, I guess. I had the flu several years ago. It's probably 2 or 3 years ago. And I put a CBD patch on and drank a few of them sodas. It cut the pain in half. And when you got the flu, that's big, cutting that in half.
Oh yeah, that's a lot. I've never tried CBD in any way, shape, or form, so I don't know anything about it. But I didn't even know they made a soda till you just showed it to me.
Yeah, we sell 4 of them here at the Silver Dollar Saloon. We sell ginger ale, cola, black cherry, and lemon. And they have a root beer also. All made down in Denver. We pick them up once a week.
Well,
And they're good.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there, Seuss. Are you still with us, Ebro?
Oh yeah, man. You guys could hear me the whole time probably.
What were you doing?
I don't know.
Snoring? Were you sleeping?
No, I was just listening intently.
This is cracking me up, man. I've been exhausted all day. Now I'm awake, and you want to go? All right, fine.
we just now got you awake and got you talking about good stories, and yeah, Sadgie's wanting to go.
It's all good.
Well, I'm down to 28% charge, and we've been on live now for 3 hours and 39 minutes.
That's long enough, Shell.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it's been great, guys.
Wow, Chris is blowing up chat.
I see that. Like everyone else, I know there's more people in there. They just all went to bed, I guess.
Yeah.
They fell asleep.
How many you got in here? I can't say it.
7.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it is pretty good for a 3 hour, 40-minute show,
Good. I think I'll go watch an episode of no, you know what? I'll probably just go to bed. I ain't gonna do that bullshit.
All right, guys.
Thanks for having me on, man. Later, fellas.
Yeah, thanks for being on. And we'll have to do it again sometime.
But of course. Plus you'll have to come over to my see now listen, when I go live, if you happen to catch me, the easiest way to do it is for me to just put the link right in.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Well, if I catch you live streaming, I'll pop in and say hi, and then we'll take it from there.
That would be awesome. But I don't drink. Okay. I'm trying to. But if I'm drinking, and I'm letting people in, I will tell them stay out. I will not let you in here. I let 2 people in I didn't know. They were cool. I recognized both their names, so I let them in. That was my first chat back from being punished by YouTube.
Yeah, I don't drink either. I haven't had a drink of liquor in over 2 years.
Listen, honestly, I want to stop. I've backed off on a lot. We're closed Mondays, Tuesdays, and I'm like, cool, let me do it after riding a bike or whatever. Let me have a beer. I want to actually smoke weed like that. Just once a week on my days off, couple of joints, whatever. It's just not that way for me. I don't, but that's how I'm like, wow, I want to do that. I don't know. We'll see. The beer's definitely got to go. If I'm going to drink, it's going to have to be something like liquor. The beer just doesn't do it for me. It makes me stupid. The liquor, I'll have 1 or 2 and I'm done. But I don't need to be drinking all the time, every day. Like I'll have 1 beer, 2 beers a day. I think that's drinking. It is drinking. I still my alcoholism runs in my family. I got to be careful.
Yeah, if you can't skip a day, then you got to be careful.
I skip 3 days. That's when I do it. I skip 3 days. So hey, you know what? I'm live here. There's 7 people here. I'm skipping 3 days. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
It'll be easy the next 3. So I don't know. Easy, hard, doesn't matter.
On the 4th, I drank a lot of beer, but I sweat most of it out. It was like
that were I hit the hot springs all the time and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. I don't know. All right, fellas.
All right, yeah. Well, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us and hanging in there this whole time. And we will see, me and Saji will see you guys again on Shifty Sunday. What do you think about that, Mr. Awesome?
Sounds totally awesome.
All right, guys. This is Hebro 77. For Hebro 77, this has been Mr. Awesome, and bye, y'all. So long, everybody.
It's till they drink more
Oops.